Hi Nima. Hi Glasgow Kiss. This is the working one. Yeah, I'm really sorry. Let me know if you can hear me in the in the messages. Um, yeah, I've been having big problems with the software tonight. So, hi Bashiro. Good to see you again. Let me know in the comments if you can hear me. So I should have my microphone working. So I'm using a tool called Streamlabs OBS, and I've been spending the last hour. I'm sorry about all those live streams. I've been spending the last hour trying to get online, and it keeps kicking me off. So, and unfortunately, it keeps creating streams, and all of those streams are dead. So I hope you're all very well tonight. Probably. If there aren't any technical issues, we'll probably do a stream for about an hour or 2 hours. But if there are technical issues and I get if I get cut off or kicked off, I was going to say, unfortunately, it's beyond my control. Dr. Guillotine approves your video. George Sheehy, nice to meet you. So we're up to 19 viewers. That's great. So I was hoping to do a live stream last week, but I had some other technical problems. I had some problems with my computer, so I wasn't able to do a live stream last week, but I didn't want to promote it in case I wasn't able to do it, but I did sort of promote the live stream this week. And I've managed to fix up some of the software, so I'm able to show you the comments from the channel. So hello Richard Frank, it's great to see you. $45 different roast beer. So I'm sorry if that was spamming all of you. I'm really sorry. It's this software. Every time I tried to connect, it would kick me off, but it would create a stream for some reason. So I hope there aren't people wandering around in empty space on the other streams. So I think what I'll do is I'll go through some of the comments I received on the community page. Some of them may be by some of you guys who are on the chat. Otherwise, I'll alternate between both the comments on the community page and on the chat. QA Library, great to see you online again. So I'll just go through the first one. I hope you can see it. So it says here, People's Poet. I'm English, served in the army for 6 years under 2 prime ministers, both Labour and Conservative. Always felt proud to be British, regardless of who was in power. Today I don't recognise my country and don't particularly want to be part. So I see if I can increase read more. Part of it anymore, and it means being associated with right-wing nationalism. I'm really sorry that you feel like that. You know, it's. I hope that it will come back to a time when you are able to feel proud again. I think Boris Johnson is an anomaly. I don't think he's going to be around for, and I mean that as a politician. I think he's going to be around he's not going to be around forever. So I think it's important to be positive in this sense that, you know, the bad days are not going to last forever. Okay, I'll just come back to the chat again. Nima says, do you not see the benefit of killing Iranian general to the many Iranian people who want regime change but cannot speak out due to the genuine fear of their lives? He shed the blood of many Iranians. I think whatever problems he caused within Iran, I don't think it was the job of the United States to remove him. And also the objective of the United States was not to remove him because he was a bad guy. Well, we may never really know why he was removed by Donald Trump. Some people are saying that because he got into a Twitter war with Donald Trump. I think that's stretching it a bit. But could you really put it past Donald Trump? I was about to say Boris Johnson. Why do I keep mixing up Boris Johnson and Donald Trump? They were separated at birth. Or maybe, if you saw the new Star Wars movie, spoilers if you haven't seen it already, but put your fingers in your ears if you don't want to be you don't want it to be spoiled. But the idea of cloning, maybe Donald Trump cloned a version of himself, and this was Boris Johnson. Bashiro, Max, how long have you been living in Italy? I'm thinking to move to Southeast Asia. I've been in Italy since 2005, but my Italian is crap. People tell me, no, your Italian is very good because I speak Italian, but it's not as good as I wish it was. But I've been here since 2005, so 15 years. It's a long time. I feel more Italian now than I do Irish because I moved here when I was about 30 or less than 30. So I'm almost 50-50 Irish in it and Italian. Vixmo, someone, thanks for your work. Thank you very much for your comment. Assassinating left a vacuum this is the problem. I don't know the role that general had to play in the government. He was a general, so he was in the military, but the way that the Republican Guard is so connected to the regime, was he also unofficially a politician? What type of power did he have within the country? So there's a risk that removing him could cause, a rippling effect. But I don't know. Did you guys see the guy's funeral? There were hundreds of thousands of people at the funeral, and many people died due to the crowds that were there because of the crush. Star Wars weekend at Bernie's. It was a weekend at Bernie's. I hope the stream is working okay, because your comments have stopped. Okay, now some more comments coming in. A number of Remainers that are waiting for the UK to leave the EU and see the country burn to the ground, and everyone to be out of a job, just to get back at leavers. Yes, I think Phil was talking about this in one of his videos recently, about how some people are just happy to see the world burn. Some people don't care about so I'm just reading. Glasgow Kiss says, I don't get community posts, get them from other channels but not yours. I'm not sure why that's the case. So yeah, about the I assume you mean not Remainers but Leavers that are waiting for the UK to leave to see the country burn. I hope just to get back, so the opposite of what I was thinking, that there are Remainers who want to see the country burn. I didn't really think that was the case, but maybe there are bitter people, like very bitter people on both sides, I guess. The stream is working well. Oh, that's good. Okay. Just with this software, it keeps... I spent an hour trying to get online and it kept kicking me off. Okay, I'm just going to go back to the community page for a moment. Hold on. What is your opinion? So I'll focus mainly tonight on your comments here. Okay, so because some of you may be on the chat, but also writing on the community page. What's your opinion when the Pope slapped the lady's hand? I don't know. I thought I did a video on that, or maybe I just wrote something on Twitter. But I said, everyone has their limits. Okay, the Pope is still a human being, and we all have our limits. In Italian, Italians say le palle piene, which means literally, it's a horrible expression, but it literally means your balls are full. And it's like when you can't take any more and you just, lash out at people. I really want the country to crash and burn, and I'm in Sweden. Linda Peterson, sorry. Why do you want that? To punish the Brexiteers. BBC just now, the British and Irish governments have published the text of the draft deal aimed at restoring power sharing in Northern Ireland. That's some good news. So hopefully there'll be power sharing restored. But as we know, the main parties, Sinn Féin and the DUP, were not happy about working together. But now, because of the bit of a hammering that both of them got in the general election, hopefully they'll come to their senses. Because, whether you agree with power sharing or not, the people of Northern Ireland, deserve to have someone represent their positions. I avidly appreciate what you do. Thank you very much, Eduardo. Lino Costa, do you think there will be a domino effect of leaving the EU and the rest? No, I don't think there's going to be, because support for the European Union actually went up in most European countries when Brexit, just after the Brexit vote. So here in Italy, I don't know the rest of Europe, I can't speak for the rest of Europe, but here in Italy, the two, I don't like to say Eurosceptic parties, one of them is definitely, the other is somewhat, or was somewhat, Eurosceptic. It's the Five Star Movement and the League Party, an extreme right-wing party. Both of them were Eurosceptic. Now, the League Party has remained Eurosceptic anyway, but the Five Star Movement was considering having a referendum on the euro. So talking about leaving the Eurozone and going back to the lira. Now, that would be a disaster, but there was talk of that. Now, that was knocked on the head. It's not going to be discussed anymore. And the idea of leaving the European Union, some people have been talking about it, but they're very much the minority. There is a sort of pseudo movement in the Republic of Ireland also to leave the European Union, but it's something like a group of people you could count on two hands. That's about it. But no, I don't think it's going to have a domino effect. I think it'll actually reinforce European integration, actually. It'll have the opposite effect. Ciao Cormac. Cormac Keenan. I knew a Keenan when I lived in Ireland. You're probably not related, though. It's like when you meet Irish people or American people meet you, or usually Americans, no offense to Americans, but they usually, do you know Mr. Jones, or do you know Mr. Smith who lives in Ireland? Oh, no, I don't. We're not that small of a country. I would have preferred Soleimani to stood trial for his crimes. Now he would be a martyr. There is this problem also. So you can give thanks to Trump for that. I think the Pope acted correctly, especially since as terrorist lone mad person target. I'm surprised his bodyguard didn't step in sooner. I like the meme that was on the internet. It was the Pope has he's defended by God, but he also has bulletproof glass just in case. I'm surprised Greece and Italy not pushed more to leave the euro. There was a lot of noise over the last few years, but I think many people have realized, look, we're too connected with the euro now. A lot of people would prefer to go back, but it's more the older generation because they remember the lira. But the way the economy was run, it was the Italian governments would run up a huge amount of debt, not on investing in infrastructure and things that actually created jobs. It was more or less jobs for the boys, if you know what that means. Just cronyism and nepotism. But what happened was that they would run up huge amounts of debts and then just devalue the currency to reduce the payments on those debts. So it was a terrible way of running the country. But it worked for a long time. And then when the euro arrived, we can't actually do that anymore. We need to be fiscally responsible. Never mind your Italian connections. Where in Ireland are you from? I can't pinpoint which county. Longford. I've lost my accent because I've been here so long. So, how do they speak in Longford now? Longford. Is that how to speak in Longford? I think I'm probably doing a terrible Galway accent there instead. I'm surprised Greece and it. Okay, that's a funny meme. I think it was like nothing represents belief in God stronger than bulletproof glass or something like that. Do you believe the conspiracy theories like Jeffrey? Okay, 9/11. No, Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know. It was all very weird, isn't it? Older Italians feel nostalgic about the Christian Democrats. I don't know because this is a shame. You know, I don't know that much about Italian politics, especially the Italian politics of the 80s. Andrew C. Brown, nice to meet you again. Nice to see you on the chat again. It's not common understanding that the United States and allies want an Iran and Iraq under Western control, so oil flows without complaint, and these countries are docile. Is that the question? No. But I agree that they want, a puppet. Put in a puppet and you can do whatever you want. I'm a bricklayer. When we were in the EU, this country went into recession. I was able to work on the mainland, which I've been able to do on many times. Have I lost my freedom? Ian Lewis. Where are you now? Are you in the UK? I'm Dutch. Bashir, I'm Dutch. I moved to the UK when I was 16 and 33 now, and I feel more English than Dutch. I'm dual national. Since Brexit, I personally know a few people that have left the country. Chlorine-washed chicken and hormone-treated beef will be kept out of the UK until the trade deal with the US. The Environment Secretary has promised. We'll see how long that lasts. Yes, a promise. A promise by the Tories. How much is that worth? I'll trade you a chlorinated chicken. I was on a live stream last night. I wasn't presenting it, but I was on a live stream of a YouTuber I just subscribed to. But it was very strange because he agrees with me. What was his name? Maweski, I think his name is. A really nice channel, and he talks about politics pretty similar to mine, but have much higher standards. But no, he had a weird a take on chlorinated chicken, for example. Nima, I watched Sean Hannity the other day. It's unbelievably painful. I wish Christopher Hitchens was alive. Yes, poor Christopher. I'd give anything to have him back. What do you think of the claims Soleimani was on a peace mission at the time? See, I think we have to be skeptical of everything we hear regarding the assassination, because some people are saying, that he was on a peace mission to work out some type of deal with Saudi Arabia. But at the same time, Max, if you rewatch your videos from 2019, the video you seem to enjoy most was the first occasion Boris met Donald. Things became more somber after that. I think probably because I saw things were not going, and I've talked about this in some of the comments on some of the videos where I said I believed that politicians would not do the stupid things that they have done. You know, you think that these people who have been in politics for so long understand the mechanisms, understand how you can navigate things. But in reality, no, they're ordinary people and they make terrible mistakes. And I started to realize, because I was talking about, for example, Jeremy Corbyn, I said, oh, he's probably playing 5D chess with us, and he's doing this because he can see the future and how it will impact his decisions in the future. And I was actually believing that, I was believing my own hype. That was the problem. And I started to realize, oh crap, you know, I'm overestimating these people. Will be my new username. I know so many EU citizens living in the UK so long now. Some have lost the ability to talk their home country language. Yeah, and I actually sometimes find myself, how do you say that word in English? Which is really weird, but that's true. QA library. What's really funny is I know some people. So here in Italy, in the region where I live, it's called Veneto, where Venice is, and they have their own dialect. So it's like a mini language. But a lot of the people from this region went to Australia 40, 50 years ago to work. And now there are parts of Australia where the people speak English and the dialect. They don't actually speak Italian. And then the dialect has mixed in with English. So they have dialect mixed words, so that it's like half English, half Italian, Veneto dialect. It's really weird. Surprised you didn't cover the RLB's launch article. I didn't see it actually, because I've been putting out a lot of material in the last few days and I haven't had a chance to read all of the things. I also did an interview that I need to edit and put up onto the channel. It was a very interesting interview. I hope you guys will enjoy it. By the way, our Sophie in Het Weedpack Hoogs, just absolutely bonkers on the British abusing the EU criminal data system. Your take on Harry and Meghan was 5-star. Very okay. I'd like to do. Thanks for that comment. I'd like to do some more of those. I'm weird. Like I look at the royal family somewhat like a car crash. Thanks, William. I'll check it out. And I don't mean that in any. I actually said that, and then I realized no, I shouldn't have used that analogy. But you can't look away. That's what I look at the royal family. And there's a video on Twitter that I probably uploaded onto the channel. There's a crazy fanatic who's ranting and raving about the William and Meghan. He's one of these super royal fans where he has all the badges and stuff stuck to a hat. I don't know if you've seen that video. Clorn Chicken is my new nickname for Bozo. My concern with Western politics now is the working class seem to want to get to the other side rather than voting and researching on what party will best fit their interests. What do you mean by they want to get to the other side? They want to get at the other side. Yes, Nina. No, sorry, I misunderstood your comment. I agree. It's like, you know, you lost, we won. Get over it. Or, when Donald Trump won, the people were, yeah, we won. And I wanted to ask these people, sorry, Donald Trump won the election. What did you win actually? Or Brexit, we won, but what did you win exactly? Can you demonstrate what you actually won? Now this idea, when a politician wins, the people themselves feel like they have won something. Like in a football game, I shouldn't be here. Well, you're welcome, John. what do you think about the fallout from dividend interpretations of the withdrawal agreement could be? Seems Boris's version deviates from intent of what the European Parliament expects. Looks like a potential flashpoint. The divided interpretation. Sorry, I don't know why I'm reading things so badly tonight. But I think the European Union are talking about, okay, you can have X, Y, and Z within 11 months. And Boris has been promising. I think the problem is Boris and the Brexiteers have been promising a huge amount. And they can continue to say that until the end of the year. And then Boris Johnson will come back with what's probably not very good. And people will start to complain, I think. Or some people will be happy with whatever he brings back. Do you watch Tucker Carlson? It's rumored that Trump listens to his no warmongering. Tucker Carlson is an interesting fish. Because he's part of the Fox News channel, but he runs against the grain in a sense. He doesn't. But I don't see. This is the thing. Is he doing it because he believes it, or is he doing it because he fills a niche? Because like I talk about Brexit and British politics because I have a passion about it. But if somebody were to pay me to say, okay, I'm going to pay you like 10,000 euros or pounds a year to talk about this topic, like, it'd be difficult if I disagreed with the point or whatever. And I think Tucker Carlson is, does he really believe the things he says? Or is he saying them because he has to say them? Or because he's paid to say it? That's where I'm not so sure about him. You say now that I am a Brexiteer. John, I don't know what you're talking about. Unless I wrote something in a comment that you're a Brexiteer, but I don't remember. But we can talk about it here if I can. In America, plenty of the white working class vote purely based on abortion and gun rights. See, the Republican Party have succeeded in convincing people to talk about issues, wedge issues. Let's get. I think it was maybe actually Kyle Kalinske who talked about this. How the Republicans have convinced, so they can't convince poor people to vote for the rich, for tax cuts, for example, for the rich. So they're able to keep the rich people on side by giving them tax cuts or reducing regulations or whatever. But the poor people say, okay, how can we get these people to come out and vote? Then if we align ourselves with issues like abortion or gun rights, then these people will go out and vote. So the Republican Party runs in a way on two tracks. One is keep the rich happy, and the other is keep a small group of people angry, fearful, because they will always go out and vote. What I don't understand are the extremely online right-wingers who support Trump or the Conservatives because of political correctness. I blame people like Sargon of Akkad for that, because Sargon started out as, okay, I'm just making fun of SJWs and feminists or whatever. But then he went to another level. He started promoting Donald Trump and saying how Donald Trump is the savior of the world and stuff like this, and how the conservative Boris are the solution. He realized, okay, I can boost my channel this way, and I find it quite dishonest, actually. I speak 2 languages, but I'm very impressed by Carlos Ghosn performing a live interview and responding to questions in 3 or more. Yeah, my God. How many people can do that so well? Maybe the Pope, if he's not slapping people. Tucker does not believe that white supremacy exists. Enough said. See, I don't know whether he doesn't believe it or he conveniently doesn't believe it. If I if I started saying things like, well, Brexit isn't that bad or something like that, but I don't really believe it, but I know that a certain number of people on the channel believe it, that I try to keep them on side. I don't know, maybe I'm being dishonest, or not being disingenuous, I should say. Was a neocon in the 2000s, a Tea Partier in the Obama era, and now a white nationalist during Trump. He sees which way the wind is blowing. So, like, if you're part of a bandwagon, if you can speak for the bandwagon, then you can remain, relevant. I live in the UK and I can speak 5 languages. Oh, Thomas, what languages can you speak? Brexit, on the one hand, will be flooded with cheap imports through slashing tariffs on stuff like food and other. And on the other hand, leaving the customs union means we can't import easily. Yeah, it's going to be dumping, basically, probably from the United States. I'm passionately pro-EU, but I've never got how these two things can be true at once. Can you help explain? Which two things, William? Yes, I maybe you can just rewrite the comment, because the comments are moving quite quickly, so I'm not able to respond to all of them. Lithuanian, Russian, English, Polish, and Dutch. Wow. I don't think you have trouble finding a job. I reckon it's because they're lying. The Tories have enough of a majority. My friend is Filipino American. She speaks English, Tagalog, Spanish, and a bit of French and Italian. And now she's learning Arabic. Arabic is very difficult. My wife has started to try and learn Chinese. I'm terrible with languages. I shouldn't be, but I am terrible. So some people pick them up really quickly, and then other people can go on for years and still stay at the same level. Russian is not a language. You just point and growl. If there's anyone Russian or of Russian origin on the chat, no offense, but when I hear people speaking Russian, it sounds like they're always angry. I actually have a friend. She's from Ukraine, and when she speaks in English, or when she's speaking in Ukrainian, or she actually speaks Russian, it sounds like she's angry. And then after, I'd ask her, "What did you say?" And she said, "Oh no, I was just asking my friend how they are today, or did they have enough to eat for lunch or whatever." Self-employed auto electrician working in the UK, still not feeling stable here. Have you experienced any blowback due to Brexit, Thomas? Got right to work and live in Norway, Holland, Lithuania, and UK was just not clear because of Brexit. Okay, I'm just going to go back to the community page, because I told people on the community page I'd write some comments up. Well, wait a minute. William asks how on one hand clogging up ports through customs checks will cause shortages, but at the same time slashing tariffs on stuff like Brazil meat will expose producers too. To lots of competition and drive them out of business. So let me read the comments. So how, on the one hand, clogging, of course. So you'll have, you'll have the customs checks, and then at the same time you'll have zero tariffs. So things will get clogged up. But it won't be a cost problem. It will be a bureaucratic problem. I think that's what's going to end up happening. A lot of things will be zero tariff, which will mean, okay, there's nothing to pay. But the bureaucratic problem, it's going to be a nightmare. I hope that's a response to the comment. You only need English and be able to shout. I think it was Ricky Gervais, was it? Just say, when you're abroad, just repeat louder and then wreck the place, knowing that you tried your best. Did you guys see him at the Golden Globes or the Oscar? No, it was the Golden Globes. He really tore into those celebrities. Like I said many times before, Scooby-Doo, the time has come for decent Brits to consider moving to a country where rule of law, decency and democracy is the default. I hope I always live in hope that things will get better. Screw Sanders, Andrew Yang, way better, but at this point I'd settle for Biden. No, not Biden. The Boarfest. Good night, everyone. Oh, good night, Bashiro. Sorry you couldn't stay on much longer. Have a good night. Any place better than staying in the cesspool of hate alternative facts. Yes, I hope things get better. That's all I can say. Okay, I'm just going to go back to the community page for a moment. So it says here, fuck England. Okay, well, I don't agree with that. Most of them vote Tory and still believe in English rule. Bunch of thugs. Boris bowing down to Trump while they inflict misery on other nations. Get out while you can, Scotland. Look, I know people. See, you have to remember that the minority of voters voted for Boris Johnson's government. It's because of the first past the post that they did so well. But if bureaucratic problems are overloading infrastructure, then surely this was also going to lock out stuff like Brazil beef. I mean, it's hard to be Lear over 200. I'm sorry about I know it's like writing a story, but they keep limiting the characters. Yeah, there'd probably be, William, I think there'd be probably a priority, because if there's a huge amount of stuff coming in that needs to be checked because of WTO rules, or because it's going out of the UK into the EU and it needs to be checked on the other side, they'll have to create a priority system. So some things will be pushed through by according to priority. But it's all speculation at the moment, and we still haven't heard anything from the British government about checks or what type of checks are going to take place, and any investment in checking, like staff or new ports or anything like that. Back before Boris Johnson's die in a ditch on the 31st of October, there was talk about spending billions on leaving the European Union without a deal. But that's not going to happen for another 11 months, probably. So, what's happening now between now and the end of the year? But we don't see anything. I don't know if any of you guys are living near Dover or living near, Portsmouth or Holyhead or somewhere like that, where there is. Do you see infrastructure going up? Because in the news we don't see anything about it. The guy from Liverpool, a few posts down, was good. I had to aim of working within the EU within 3 years' time. I hope Brexit doesn't make things difficult for me. Nima, you're in the UK at the moment, I assume. William, I don't know if they'll treat every country the same. They may have to, but that's an interesting question. It's an interesting point. I hope, maybe somebody has a solution to that, or an answer even to that. A lot of British people are not being considered for jobs in EU area. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Please answer candidly. My European friends tell me most Americans are too loud, smile too much, and are too familiar upon first meeting them. Megan, is this true? I don't think so. I don't know. I'm trying to remember. I remember during the Second World War, there was this idea: the Americans are, what is it, too loud, too sexy, or too sexed, and was it oversexed, over here, and overbearing, or something like that? I don't remember. But it was about the GIs in Britain during World War II. And it was interesting how the cultural differences. So I think it was something like, I know I'm not really responding to your comment here, but it was something like, so Americans would kiss on the first date, but the Brits wouldn't kiss on the first date. They'd kiss at the same time they'd have sex. So for the Americans, you'd have first base. Correct me if I'm wrong here. First base would be kissing. Second base would be, touching. And then third base is, I'll leave it to your imagination. But for the Brits, kissing meant everything. So there wasn't a first base. There was just one base, and you got everything at that. So the British girls thought the American men were forward, intrusive, while the Americans thought that when they kissed the British girls, they would give them everything in return, and they were like, oh, okay, these girls are easy. So there was this misunderstanding. But that's not really answering your question. Sorry. So they think Americans are too loud. I think, okay, and answer candidly, yes. Smile too much. Yes, probably too familiar on the first meet. I think this thing of, not so much here, but when we go abroad and we go into a store or whatever, and Americans say, good morning, nice to meet, or good morning, how can I help you? It's like people find this intrusive. They find, okay, no, just leave me alone. I'm not interested. I don't want to buy something. And then tipping, of course. Tipping. I could do a live stream on tipping. Under PR, the left wing or Blairites would actually split from the Labour Party, and there wouldn't be much infighting. But then what are you left with? That's the problem. Are you going to do any Brexit celebrations on the non-UK MEPs? Maybe we should do a live stream on the first, and send Nigel Farage packing. Overpaid. Paul in Ireland. I see the noble Lord Ken McGuinness is in trouble with police for hate speech, calling a gay female MP a queer. Ken McGuinness. Who is Ken McGuinness? That name is familiar. Lord Ken McGuinness. Irish girls are good fun. That's very interesting. Even in Ginger Prince. The Ginger Prince. My Mrs. American, she's confident, which makes many mistakes for... Yes, bossy is a word you can't use anymore. I think Prince Andrew destroys the myth. He steals first place and denies it. And he probably hides that it is first base as well. Like, he covers it with sand. I love these live streams. I end up laughing more than I should be. Glasgow Kiss, saying Poles go home. I mean, we're not afraid of changing laws, but changing laws on racism and discrimination that fear in the near future. Local government here in Portsmouth spent 53 million on expanding the docks and got 200,000 back from the government, even when they said they paid for it all. What do you mean they got 200,000 back? When do we tell the homeless outside Morrison's it's okay, Brexit has been done? Yes. This whole Brexit thing has been such a distraction from real issues. Look, I know it sounds weird coming from me, someone who has built an entire channel on this issue, but I really wish Jeremy Corbyn and the other parties back in September had formed a government of national unity, or at least tried, and got Brexit out of the way, and then the UK could have been finally talking about these real issues. Clive Lewis, Labour leadership candidate in question time right now. What do you reckon? The first question, of course, was, do you want to rejoin the European Union? Or they just asked about Harry and Meghan. Really? Oh my God. Who gives a crap? Harry and Meghan, really? Sorry, QLI. So they had spent millions, so they had put forward, they had spent in advance millions, and then they asked the government for reimbursement, and they got £200,000. Well, is it like what, to cover a new air conditioning system or a new car park or something, or the asphalt for a new car park, the tarmac for a new car park? This is ridiculous. And then where is that money going to come from now? You can't call Major Hewitt's son Ginger. Americans World 2. Oversexed, overpaid, and over here. Thank you very much, Itkapankanka. Sorry, I'm mispronouncing your name. Yes, tipping encourages people in the service industry to consistently pretend to be extremely happy. I find it annoying, yes. Really like the stream. Very nice, Pete. How often will you do this? And what time? I'm going to try and fix a time because my work schedule is really all over the shop, as we say in Ireland, all over the shop. We mean all over the place. So I'm going to try and fix a date. Probably I'm going to probably go with in the future Friday evenings, because it's probably the best time for me. And here it's 11:42 in Italy, so it's probably 10:42 in Greenwich Mean Time, so probably around that time. I'll normally stay on the stream until midnight or a little bit after. So another probably half an hour or maybe an hour. My advice to the world: try single malt whiskey. Yes, I have some Scottish one. I hope the Irish people don't hear me say that. Scotland people is something else. I spoke with few, all with bright mind and accept the foreigners. Anthony C. I live in California and people always cite our homeless population problem. For the chat room, has anyone... Oh, thank you very much. Mistake not. Love your channel, keep it going. Thank you very much. I love your logo as well. I should have a logo like that. I live in California and people cite our homeless population. Has any country solved? I think maybe it's Finland or Sweden may have actually solved, well, not solved, I think it's almost impossible to solve, but really dealt with the homelessness issue by building new homes for the homeless people. Now, maybe it wasn't Sweden, because I know Sweden has a housing problem, but it could have been Finland or Denmark. It was a Scandinavian country anyway, and they just built new homes, but they also used like containers, like shipping containers, and then but they decked them out like unbelievably. They were like high level homes. It depends on the approach. I think, we try to, many people consider homelessness as, okay, these people are junkies, they can't be helped. But in reality, most people who are homeless are not people with drug problems, or they're not people who are on the margins of society. They're people who maybe missed a rent payment, or they're people who lost their job recently. Our idea of homelessness is completely skewed. What's wrong with liking both Scottish and Irish whiskey? No need to be whiskeyist. No, of course not. I see the fourth rye has just kicked off with denying immigrant kids. Yes, I did a video about that today. It's just very sad. And I said it's sad both for the kids, but also it's so sad for what the for what the UK represents, or has represented up until now. Do you have any advice on dealing with toxic management at work? I currently have been working here for 4 months, but it's getting to the point where I just want to quit for college. Paul Bryce. Toxic in what sense? Like the... Kerry Fry, good night. Have a nice evening. Toxic management at work. I think... So I don't know your situation very well, but normally in situations like that, you have to understand. So you can't fight the management. But what you need to do is understand what they want. So if you have a manager who's a real asshole, try to understand what he wants, and then try to change your work style towards that. I know you mightn't agree with, not you, but people in general wouldn't agree with that. But you have to understand that this person has the power, you don't. And there's no point trying to fight people like that, because if they're assholes, they're not going to be reasoned with. So you have to just find out what they like and what style they want you to work in, and attempt to work in that way. And then maybe, compliment them, maybe on what they're wearing, or on if they say something about football or something. Oh yeah, that's a good. You sort of kiss their ass a bit. You don't need to go over the top, but it gets you in their good books, which will make your life easier. And then when you go home, you can, rant and rave as much as you want. But when you're at work, unfortunately, sometimes we have to be kind to people who don't deserve it. I don't know if that helps, but I've worked with plenty of foreigners, yet to meet one I disliked. Hardworking and friendly. What do the Irish put in their whiskey? I don't know, Wee Scots Good Dog. I think, now correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't drink alcohol, but normally a hot toddy. So we put cloves, lemon, and sugar, and hot water. It's very nice on a cold night. Which is the best vegetable? It depends on what you want to do with it. The Gaelic spelling is different in Scotland and Ireland, yes. How to do it? Okay. Thanks, Thurston. Thurston Mortensen. I used to live in Dublin, and I shared a house with a guy called Thurston. But I never was able to get in contact with him again. I'll burst your bubble for you. Johnson is American. Yes. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to the comments from the channel. So on the community page that says here, what the fuck about... So I hope I didn't offend anyone with this this picture. So I'll just go up and show you the picture. So it says here, I just put it in as a bit of a joke, okay? It wasn't to be offensive to anyone. So it says here, the Republic of Krakistan. So if you're... I don't know if most English people would understand what crack is, but maybe if you're not from the UK or you're not familiar with English and Irish culture, so crack is Gaelic for fun. So but in Ireland we excuse me, in Ireland we use a lot of Irish words in the English language. So crack as in fun. So we'd say, what's the crack? Like, what's the news? Or what's the fun at the moment? How was your birthday party or whatever? Oh, it was great crack. Means it was great fun. So Krakistan, and then of course Scotland is part of the Krak, so they're part of Krakistan, the Republic of Krakistan, and then I don't know if you can see, it says United Kingdom of England and Wales. Now, no offense to Wales, I think Wales should actually be included here, but it says literally no crack whatsoever, so there's no fun in England, but I hope no one's offended by that. It was just a bit of tongue-in-cheek. We use it in Yorkshire. Ah, very nice. Mistake not. Problem with the Government of National Unity was all could be done about it. Done about it, though their parties were bigger than the problem. But I think a government of national unity, thanks John O'Sullivan, I think a government of national unity just to fix Brexit could have worked. But I think we'll never be able to know, because it never happened. So it says here, what about Wales? Don't leave us with the English okay. No, I know that, there's a lot of people on the channel here from England, so I think we all understand it's not the English, it's the Brexiteers. Love the map. Hopefully in the future we can convince the Welsh, okay? England should be called Redneckistan. No, I don't believe in that. Maybe Uxbridge could be called Redneckistan. Love the map, okay. Would like to see United Ireland, Scotland and Wales leave the UK and form a League of Celtic Nations, although they'd be friendly and cooperative with England. They'd be part of the EU, and at that point it would be England for the English. I don't know, do you guys think that there is a movement towards English nationalism, an English-only party? Because something I think about why I don't understand that Boris Johnson is not so open about, or so willing to allow Etinistan to allow Scotland to become independent, is because there's no real Tory presence there. Well, it's been reduced. No, I'm wrong. There isn't not a Tory presence. There is a Tory presence, of course, but it has been reduced. Is it worth the Tories investing so much in Scotland to maintain some seats? I don't know how many. Maybe someone can tell me how many seats the Tories have in Scotland, but it's going down all the time, I think. Budgest had secured employment at the European Commission and moved his family in April 1973 to Brussels, where Johnson attended the European school. Yes, irony. No, because this is the thing, Andrew. I think Boris Johnson is not anti-European, but he realized that to get into power, he needed to be anti-European. I think behind closed doors, Boris Johnson probably says, the European Union is quite good. But he realized that there was money to be made criticizing the European Union. He was writing those articles for the Telegraph, wasn't it? About how the European Union are creating laws to, fix, straighten bananas and stuff like that. And then, of course, he was, running on the run up to the election, to the referendum, he was writing letters on how he had succeeded, how if the referendum had voted to remain, he had a letter written to say, yes, I supported that all along, or whatever like that. He's an opportunist. Yes, opportunist, nothing else. Potential to be sly. Max spreading fake news regarding Irish whiskey. Watch The Quiet Man. You'll have water with that father. When I drink water, I drink water. When I drink whiskey. Here in Crack is the highest quality. Here in Italy, in Veneto region, where they drink a lot of wine, there's actually a restaurant, a very, very rough restaurant. Now it's become somewhat more chic, but in the past it was quite rough, where they'd have sawdust on the floor and stuff like that. But when you'd order water in this restaurant, they would say, no, water is for washing your hands. We only serve wine here, which is quite funny because in Ireland it's considered, posh to drink wine, while here in Italy it's considered posh to drink beer. Here in this area people drink wine, and the wine is very, very good. The Conservative Party is in it for the total power and maybe money. Pre-2016, I would say they just like to keep Scotland, but know that they just need England and Wales to be a one-party state, yes. I think for them, if I was in the Tories, I'd be saying, look, let's focus our efforts on England and Wales and let Scotland go. Happy McNugget, hi, welcome to the stream. We need a brave psychiatrist to pronounce him madder than a teaser adder in a bag of apples. Excuse me, I'm choking on my saliva because I'm laughing so much here. I'll have some of that wine to wash my hands, please. McKenna, being a liar is a requirement for being a successful. Yes, Boris and his friend across the ocean are a good example of that. Really enjoying the channel too. That's great, Missy Mouse UK. I was going to bed. I'm happy to stay up. I don't want to keep you out of bed. Scotland rejected the withdrawal agreement officially, 92 to 29 votes in Scottish Parliament, but it'll be just ignored. I was reading about that today, how it's more a symbolic vote, because they won't really be able to stop it. Tories have only 6 seats in Scotland now, out of 59. Thanks, John, for that update, for that info. Why is my subs list flooded with your I'm really sorry, Redlaw. What happened was I was trying to connect the stream, but my software kept kicking me off, and I didn't realize it was actually creating notifications to all my subscribers. So I'm really sorry about that. The software is usually quite good. I normally have a problem with the connection, but today I've had a problem with the software, not the connection. Posh to drink beer in Italy? Well, I don't object to the occasional Peroni. Oh, you can't drink Peroni. Perhaps I should migrate and join the elite. No, Peroni, no, you can't. That's horrible. Italian beer is not actually all that great. I prefer Belgian or German. Leffe, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. I think there's somebody on the stream from Belgium, no? Or maybe the Netherlands. Ian McKenna, we've got cheaper too. Don't drink cheap beer or cheap wine. Although wine here in Italy is very, very cheap. When I first arrived here, I was telling earlier in the chat about 15 years ago, one of the first things that shocked me was I walked past a shop and they had petrol pumps, but it was not petrol, it was wine. So what happens is that a lot of the older people and farmers here in this area, they go to these, what they're called inoteca. So it's a place that produce wine but also sell it. It's like a sort of front, like an outlet connected to the production. So it's a little shop or store where you can buy the wine directly from the producer. And they sold wine with petrol pumps. And I said, no, you can't. As an Irishman, I can't see this. Okay. But the farmers or the local people go in with a 5-liter bottle. It's in a plastic basket, a glass bottle, and then they fill up their wine, and they're okay for a few days or something. I hope a bit longer. Scots only drink Tennent's Super. I drank Tennent's Super in a pub actually here, and I didn't feel well after it. Nothing against Tennent's, but very strong beer doesn't go well with me. I prefer a lighter one. Can you get the original Budweiser from the Czech Republic? Where you are? Budweiser from the Czech Republic? Isn't Budweiser American? But I drank Budweiser once and it was horrible. Should I introduce the Italians to Buckfast? I think I tried to find. I was in Belfast last year, and I thought, I was thinking, we have to try Buckfast, but I couldn't find it because I didn't know if you can buy it in the supermarket or you can get it in the pub. I assume you can't get it in the pub. But it's a fortified wine. No, it's like a liqueur or something. So it's Prosecco, yes. Okay, I'm just going to go back to the comments on the community to see if there's something else. Can someone highlight the the Scouse Republic of Merseyside as separate from England? In relation to the question at hand, though, the DUP are losing ground fast. The majority of working and lower middle class poor people are more concerned with social and economic day-to-day matters than that. Okay, the DUP are fighting against the stream, adapt or die. Yes, see this. Ken and Super is discussed. The idea, I think what's happening now is that, and I talked about this in one of the videos. Sorry, I better respond to you guys. I found an advantage of Brexit, and it's that it's harder to import. Budweiser from Czech Republic is the original and real beer versus the American piss water you get in the US. What is it called, QA Library? Is it called Budweiser? Maybe it is called Budweiser, but I always thought it was American. No offense to the Czech Republic. No offense to Americans, okay. But if I go to the US, I'm not going to drink Budweiser or something. I'm going to drink craft beer. I'm only a few miles from Buckfast Abbey. Who wants an order? Is it good? Is it sweet? The Buckfast? Budvar. Okay. Stella is the best beer. Who would have thought that when I started this channel, I would spend 2 hours talking about beer? So back about the DUP, I think what's happening in Northern Ireland is a lot of people, and I've talked about this in a video where I was speaking to a unionist from Northern Ireland, and at the end of the day, I don't like using that expression, but I use it a lot. At the end of the day, people care about, look, do I have a job? Am I able to pay the rent? Am I able to buy food for my family? Am I going to risk losing my livelihood? These are the issues that people care about, not whether there's a United Ireland or union with the rest of Britain. These are not the issues that most people care about. They care about bread and butter issues, and the more the DUP and Sinn Féin deviate from that and don't fight on those issues, it opens up for other parties, I think. The Alliance Party or the SDLP, for example. And maybe even the UUP. Nice big bridge between Ireland and Scotland. How social media has hacked the nations interfered with democracy, convinced stupid people to vote against themselves. Yes, and we have to put an end to this. So I liked that comment because we're seeing, I think it was even today, that Facebook were saying we're not going to block political ads in the 2020 general election in the US. So, and we've seen how social media has impacted Brexit, and it has impacted Donald Trump's victory. Completely responsible? Of course not. I don't think so. But ciders for girls, men drink beer. No sexism here. I like cider too. They're literally just saying in the news that the UK government and DUP are introducing a new bill to restore power sharing with no actual explanation as to getting around the Irish language bill. So maybe the Irish language bill will be thrown in the bin. Can someone get a reasonably priced too? Buckfast is grotty. The Jackie about town. Mad. Okay. Budweiser USA is something, but it's not beer. Craft beer is the way to go. a pint is $8 in California. $8. That's insane. And then you have to tip as well. I got this stuff off Hungarian mate. Tastes like honey, but doesn't. But you'd better take the next 2 days off work. Can't remember the name. It's a beer from Hungary or Czech Republic. They have a liqueur from, where is it? I think it's Serbia. I don't remember the name, but it's something like 80% alcohol or 70% alcohol. You could put it in your car. So about social media, I think, how can we put an end to it? I think regulation, but the problem is governments are so far behind. You know, I don't know if you saw the interview with the head of Google when he was interviewed. He gave an interview at the congressional hearing, and they were saying like, okay, but look, I can search for things on. If I search for pictures of me on Google, it gives me this. Or what was it? Apple. It was the interview with Apple, and they were complaining. Yeah, but on my phone, my iPhone, I get this, and they were trying to explain to the congressman or the senator, no, it's not the phone that gives you the images or gives you the information. It's the algorithm. It's the software. And they're like, yeah, but what about? But it's on my phone. It's on my phone. It's the phone that's the problem. And you know, the senators have no understanding of software and how are you to expect these people to create laws to deal with these issues. So I think we're going to be in deep trouble for a while until the politicians get up to speed. Scotland, fuck off England, make William Wallace proud. Can you just make sure you don't lump all of us Cornish in with the English as well, Max? Thanks. Anyone here from Cornwall? To the north and western parts of the UK, please don't. A lot of these are about the. So Paul Gibbons, I don't know if you know Paul Gibbons. I don't know if he's on the chat tonight. I think he's popped in once or twice. So he's one of the only Brexiteers on the channel. There are a few, but he's one of the ones that actually remain, and he comments on most of the videos. So he says here, how about addressing the self-hating anti-English nonsense we see in the comment section? This comment section. Is it not time that these comments were classified as hate crimes? But is it a hate crime to hate yourself? Although, how you define that as hating, I don't know. Let me go back to the chat for a moment. I got charged £14 for a Jack Daniels and Coke before. That's insane. I was in a hotel recently. I got 2 ciders and they charged me £11. I think it was in Belfast. I was like, £11 for 2 glasses of cider, which probably isn't all that expensive, but. And it was in a hotel, so they're normally more expensive. Who is the worst Brexiteer? Terry James. You mean on my channel? Or do you mean in general? In general, probably Nigel Farage, because he's such a charlatan. He's a snake oil salesman. But the people behind him are probably worse. But they're not always so, up front. On the channel, what's his name? Barry, probably. But maybe I'm being overly cruel there. You are spot on with your video on how Corbyn's hubris got. Unfortunately, well, thanks for the comment, but I think a big problem, Mark Francois, surely. Isn't Mark Francois going to climb up the steeple of Big Ben and ring the bell himself? Guys, if you have the chance, look for Mark Francois on Twitter. There's a fake account of his that, as we say in Ireland, takes the piss out of him. Really makes fun of him, pretending that he's this SAS secret soldier or whatever. I think it's called Marc-Francois Faure. Who's selling snake oil? What's his name? Nigel Farage, of course. He's been selling it for years, and he'd be probably doing it. I think he's planning to expand to move out to the US. You can get 3 2-litre bottles for... Oh, no. I remember when I lived in Dublin, you would see the teenagers drinking 2-litre bottles of cider in the park. That was quite horrible to see. The Dutch beer you're drinking is Leffe Blonde beer. 33 bottles after 10. Your legs want 10, okay. Of course, if you drink 10 bottles of beer. I remember, I don't know if this is true now. Yes, bringing the conversation back to politics. How amusing would it be when the Brexit Essex man discovers that his quarterly booze run in his wife hand to France is curtailed? A lot of Brexiteers be like, wait a minute, I have to pay taxes on this when I'm bringing it back in, or I'm not allowed to bring as much beer as I could before. That's what the Leave the Remain campaign should have ran on. They're going to, if we leave the European Union, you're not going to be able to bring in as many cigarettes and beer anymore. Most of the Brexiteers are like, to hell with this. Horrible to drink. No, his plan for Big Ben is to ring. Has failed. Like, it's so pathetic. People like Marc-Francois. Like, how does this person become a politician? Like, who votes for Marc-Francois? Does he go around and meet with constituents? Like, what does he say to them? How does he win people over? Anyway, I'll just go back to Paul Gibbons' comment. So he says here, it's not time these vile comments were classified as hate crimes. I don't know if he's being, if he's exaggerating here. How can you all bang on about the right wing and racism when you're all boiling over with racist anti-English bile? You people are seriously going down in bitterness, hatred, and intolerance. But it's normally the Brexiteers who are talking about foreigners and stuff like that. What happens with the slew of Glasgow Kiss? That's from today. I want advice on where to move. Is Scotland viable? Will it break away from the UK or remain in the EU? I'll just go back to the chat for a moment. Is right-wing populism easier to sell than left-wing? Probably. It's easier to sell hate. It's easier to sell when people are angry. So first of all, you get people angry, and then you can sell them what you want. Now, how do you deal with this? So something very interesting happened a couple of months ago in the US. So there's a candidate running in the Democratic primary. His name is Andrew Yang. So if you don't know him, I recommend you check him out. I don't agree with everything he says, but he was able to convert hard right-wing, well, not hard right-wing, but working class people who are on the right, who voted for Donald Trump. He was able to convert them with a very simple argument. So these people were... He had said these people, and one of them actually came out and said it. He gave an interview, one of these guys who changed. Okay, good night, Glasgow Kiss. Good night, Thomas. Nice to have you on the chat. After the last election, 33 to 50% of seats in Parliament have never changed party. Hence, people sit on seats for years. Which, it shouldn't be. There should not. Every seat should be a marginal. There shouldn't be safe seats. $1,000 for every American. No, but he said something very interesting as well, Andrew Yang. So there was this working class guy who said, look, I voted for Donald Trump because I don't want immigrants coming and taking my job or whatever. And Andrew Yang said, it's not the immigrants you have to worry about. It's technology. It's AI. It's robotics. Because they're the ones who are taking your jobs, not the immigrants. And when the politician says, yes, the immigrants, they're trying to trick you. And then Andrew Yang said, look, just go into your local, if you don't believe me, go into your local supermarket and you see fewer people, but you see more automatic checkouts. So that means the companies need less people. The companies need less people means there are fewer jobs about. Fewer jobs, there's more competition. Then this can drive down wages. Now, it's not 100% true in all cases, but he did make a very valid point. That it's not the immigrants that are coming to take your jobs. It's the technology. And, if you lay it out like that, what can people say? If somebody is dyed-in-the-wool, anti-brown people, whatever, you're not going to convert those people. But people have been told for years, look, it's the immigrants who are coming to take your jobs, the Mexicans are coming to take your jobs, whatever. If you turn around and say, actually, it's not them, it's the technology, and if you don't believe me, see it for yourself. Saying to people, see it for yourself is very powerful. And Andrew Yang was very good at converting these people who had voted for Donald Trump based on the idea of immigration, which was one of the most powerful messages Donald Trump had. Anyway, the idea of being anti-X because you mock the subset of X is laughable, in my opinion. Part conflated with whole. The way they deal with the far right or far left is facts, but they're working hard to blur that. I don't think, facts are trumped, excuse the pun, but trumped by feelings. So if you can convince people, look, the immigrants, we don't have figures to show that the immigrants are coming to take your jobs or whatever, but the feeling, you feel it. I'm making you feel fearful, making you feel afraid that they're going to come, that they are coming now to take your jobs or whatever. The feeling is much stronger than any number you can point in the opposite direction. And I think in this case, Andrew Yang was able to trump that in a way by saying, look, it's the technology that's the problem. A clear case of technology taking people's jobs. Look at Foxconn in China. They made 1.5 million workers redundant by placing them with robots. Yeah, I think also in Amazon, they had huge warehouses where they had 300 people. And then they replaced them with robots and they now have 30 people. And they're working on software that can grip, a box or a cardboard envelope or something like this. At the moment, they don't have the technology, but they're working towards it. And that will mean they'll be able to completely automate the entire warehouse. And I think the idea of Amazon is eventually you order something and no people are involved in the delivery of that. Working towards a drone delivery as well. Because people are a problem. If you remove the people, you remove most of the problems. Most airline crashes are because of people problems. Pilots are tired, pilots make mistakes, pilots overcompensate. Most of the time, it's not because the computer doesn't understand something. It's normally a technical problem related to a mechanical issue. Maintenance wasn't done, or something like that, or because a pilot made a mistake, but not because the system is wrong or the system has a problem. Now, there are, of course, some exceptions, but I like Yang. I don't think he stands a chance. I think he's too ahead of his time, Missy Mouse. I think he's probably better suited to the next election, 2024, which, if he does run again, he'll be much better placed because he will have had so much time to build up a name. In the same way Bernie Sanders, I knew about Bernie Sanders back in 2016. Long before that, because I agreed with his politics, so I knew about him. But most people in 2016 never heard of Bernie Sanders, so he didn't have that much. He was very much at a disadvantage. And I think Andrew Yang will be much better suited in 2024, also because of the technology issue. Many people still don't believe that it's really a problem, which it really is a problem. Why not choosing technology over people? People can be lazy, disturbed at workplace with personal problems, go in strike. People are pain to manage, and so corporations lose money with them. Yep. Cotton Cat. I agree. Not that this is good, but it's true. We can't disagree with facts. Where I work, there is a warehouse where the lights have never been turned on. It's entirely wow. Ian McKenna. Wow. Have you seen the Amazon shop in America? No, I'd like to see it. I heard that there are no staff there either. They're just maybe a security guard. It's a shop where nobody works. You just walk in and take what you want, and it scans with your phone. It's something really interesting. I saw it on, I think it's called Ask Joe. It's a YouTube channel, Ask Joe. It's fantastic. It's a very, very good site, a very good channel. He talks about technology and science and funny, strange ways. But he did a video about technologies, predictions from the 1990s, about smartphones and fax machines and computers and what they could do in the future. And some of them actually were really spot on. Some of them were completely ridiculous, but some of the predictions that I think was AT&T made back in 1995 or something like that, about being able to, I think it was like banking, online banking, back in 1995, there was nobody could even conceive of the idea of online banking. But they made a prediction, you could do online banking. But the problem was that you had to go to a type of library to do it. So the bank was closed, but you could go to the library and do online banking. So the concept wasn't perfect because we don't need to go to a library to use a computer. Anyway. In aviation safety, when a technical issue arises, computers cannot think outside the box to fix it. Only people can. But I think they're getting better, Pete. Yang is not progressive enough. He's not far ahead of his time. His UBI is useless. If the rents go high, plus he adds a VAT. I think this thing about the rents going up, but the $1,000 will not be just used for rent. So maybe some rents will go up, but I don't think they'll go up to the level that would really affect universal basic income. Sorry. We have several Amazon Go stores in San Francisco. Those types of stores have been in China for a while. I think we've been looking at the United States really and Silicon Valley for a long time. But I think in the next 4 or 5 years, China is going to explode with new technologies. A lot of things that that have been under wraps or under the surface for a while. In the next few years, we're going to see China really going really going at it with new technologies. Yang is not Medicare for that's one of the things I said before. I agree with him on some things, but I don't agree with him on everything, and I think he's completely off on Medicare for all. You have to have Medicare for all. It's ridiculous what's happening in the US at the moment regarding healthcare. I help out in a public library, and we always have people waiting for computers. Oh, I think I have a new subscriber. Good night, Max. Okay, good night, Missy Mouse. Hope to see you again soon. Is it true that if you can beat the system, you can get it for free? Mass surveillance. Joe Scott for anyone. Yes. Thank you, Jimbo Jones. I think his channel is called Ask Joe or something like that. Drones are the new thing. I just want to go through some of the other comments. So Paul Neville wrote this comment on the community page. Hi Max, the RIC commemoration that the Irish government were planning but backed down due to negative feedback. In fairness, it wasn't a celebration but an acceptance of Ireland's past, in my opinion. So the RIC is the Royal Irish Constabulary, and they were the police force in Ireland before Ireland became a free state. And they had a bad reputation, to say the least. There was a lot of, beatings, and they would treat the local population pretty badly, and a lot of people joined them because they were because they paid well, but they were seen later as a tool of the British Empire, and there's still a lot of bad blood regarding them. Also, for example, the Black and Tans, which was a military force, an auxiliary force that were that carried out atrocities. Unskilled jobs are simply going away through automation. What will these people do to earn money? Universal basic income is the only way. And it's not just unskilled jobs, Anthony. There's also law firms. I saw a video on YouTube about where they had a law firm software that checks contracts to find errors in contracts. So they had a real highly skilled lawyer, and they had the software, and a normal person could use the software to check these mistakes, and it was able to carry out the operation much faster, maybe 3 times faster than a real lawyer, and its error correcting was like 3 or 4% higher than a normal lawyer. So even highly skilled jobs are being outsourced to computers as well. Do you want to elaborate on the Tulsi Gabbard video? I have a different opinion of her. So just about the Tulsi Gabbard one, I worked in Northern Ireland with the RUC. The RUC got total changed. I'm not sure what you mean, QA Live. You worked with the RUC, because I know that the RUC had a bad reputation. Now, whether it was warranted or not is another issue, because I think in Northern Ireland the polarization was so strong. So about the Tulsi Gabbard video, Tulsi has been targeted. People don't want her in the party. So I think she's a bit homeless at the moment, because the progressives don't want her, and the corporates, the moderates, don't want her either. But she's staying in the race. I think she's staying in the race because she knows she doesn't have a hope in hell of winning, but it's maybe to get a position in the next administration. So if Bernie Sanders wins, she can immediately, or if he's looking likely to win, she can stay in the race, but endorse him. And then there's a chance that she could become a Secretary of State or something. So because she has the credentials, I think. But she doesn't have a hope of winning the presidency. But it could also be a bit like Andrew Yang, where you remain in the race as long as possible, so you maintain a persona that you can use in the future. So she may run again in 2024, depending on the result this time. Something this isn't really what I wanted to bring up on the channel, but about Donald Trump winning, I fear he's going to win again, not because of gaffes, not because Bernie Sanders has grassroots support, not because of all of these things, but just by the fact that if you look at the last number of elections, it's normally you have a president wins twice and then they're replaced. So if we look at Now, there is one exception, which was George H.W. Bush. So you had George H.W. Bush had one, presidency. He was removed. He lost in 1992 against Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton won again in 1996. So he had two. Then you had George W. Bush, and people were saying, okay, well, George W. Bush should be removed into 2004, yes. He was running against John Kerry. But he didn't. He remained. So he was the incumbent again. So he had two presidencies. Then you had Barack Obama, and there was a risk, okay, in 2012 he was going to, at the end of the day, the polling was completely off, but there was a chance that he would lose to Mitt Romney, and he didn't. And now you have Donald Trump in his first presidency, so there's a chance that maybe he will, just by tradition, get through to become president again. Mark Franks, hello. Now, I don't know if that's a proper analysis or not, but how long can Bernie stay in the primaries if he's coming behind Warren once it starts? And it's risking a Biden nomination. I think Warren will probably bow out and give her support to Bernie Sanders. But I think he should be okay. Bernie Sanders is great. He was especially good on Sacha Cohen's This Is America. Bernie's a great candidate. I think Bernie's a good guy, but I don't know if he can beat Trump. Not because he has everything correct, but Donald Trump has enough. Donald Trump doesn't need to lose a lot of support in order to win. So I was working in Northern Ireland with the RUC, got replaced by entirely new police structures, the PSNI. I was asked about the name change. It got changed and still did not have a real name. I remember I had a friend from Northern Ireland who called it the NIPS, the Northern Ireland Police Service, but it's actually the Police Service of Northern Ireland. But I know that they reintroduced a lot of new hiring practices in the Police Service of Northern Ireland to introduce or to encourage more Catholics to join. I assume things are going quite well now because the sectarian problems have diminished a good bit. Well, yeah, Akamachu Black and Tan's rocket is number 1. I don't understand why that happened. Is it because of this RUC or RIC commemoration? A Brooklyn woman said she was charged more than $28,000 to be checked out by a doctor for what she suspected was a step throat coming to the UK. $28,000. Like, what happens, Anthony, if you just say, I don't have the money? Like, you can go bankrupt, no? But if you go bankrupt, I know it completely destroys your credit rating. You can't buy a house or buy a car or anything after that. But like, what's the alternative? Like, if I can't buy a car, but I have to pay $28,000 in medical costs. I do like Bernie, but Trump is too controversial. So far, the bookmakers have Trump in the lead, but the sitting president tends to win. Yeah, that's the fundamentals. The fundamentals of the incumbency normally help a great deal. I don't know why, but I think it should actually work against the incumbent because people should be, okay, let's have a change. But people are more, let's stay as we are. Maybe Trump isn't so bad after all. It's the more Trump pumps out, the more rubbish he talks, the more people become immune to it, I think. For Sanders to complete, America wants celebrity. Maybe. I hope you're wrong, Ian, but you're probably right. Biden couldn't win. He's borderline senile. Yeah, Joe Biden is, he's talking about putting on the records and the words, teach them new words. But on a record, I actually have a record player, but we have it for nostalgic purposes, not for because we're old people. A lot of people wanted nips and the PS9 was a 50-50 mix now. It's 50-50 mix now. It's a bit like the Boaty McBoatface. They will send the collectors on you, place linen on your paycheck. Oh my God. The doctor and testing lab were in on a scam to perform needleless tests to pad the bill. How can the doctors be involved in this? Don't they understand that people, people can't pay this? But of course, you get corrupt doctors everywhere. Also here in Europe, we have. I think I'm trying to remember. My dad had to get a stent put in, and so this was really weird. So I'll try and remember this. And try to recount this story. So my dad had to get a stent put in, and he went to a public doctor. So he went to the public hospital, and the doctor in the public hospital said, "Look, if you want to get this stent put in, you can do it, but I'd recommend you do it very soon because it's necessary." And my dad trusted him, so he said, "Okay, yes, okay, I'll go with that. So, what do you recommend?" And the doctor said, "Look, I'd recommend you go privately because it's faster." So, if you're not sure, in America, most of the time, people go privately here in Europe is because it's faster, not really for money reasons, but because you have to pay instead, but because you don't want to wait. And sometimes the waiting list can be quite long. If it's for something critical, the waiting list is short. But in this case, I don't remember how long the waiting list was, but the surgeon had told my dad, "Look, you should get this done privately." So my dad said, okay. My dad had private health insurance, and he, called the insurance company, and I think he was called them, or he just booked an appointment with the specialist, with the surgeon. Do you know who the surgeon was? The surgeon was the same guy who worked in the public hospital who told my dad to go private. So my dad went and got the stent put in, and went and got the surgery done, and came out and didn't feel any better. And went on for a couple of months. He didn't feel any better, so he went back into hospital, and they discovered that the doctor who had recommended him for the stent privately didn't actually put in a stent, but actually billed the private health insurance company for it. So my dad went into hospital and got nothing done. Then he went later to the public hospital. He waited a bit longer, got the public hospital stent put in, and then he felt perfect. He was out the next day and he was perfectly fine, or even the same day. And he said, "I feel like $1 million." So we also have these problems over in Europe, but it's normally not about money. It's more about time. Gerrymandering to ensure incumbent wins. Yes, gerrymandering is a big issue in the US at the moment. But also, I think it's something that's also happening in the UK. I think Phil from a different bias was talking about it today, actually, how Boris Johnson's going to be able to rewrite borders, create new borders for constituencies, and so he can shore up his vote. He can win a majority of the seats with less votes through gerrymandering. My son playing rugby in France got injured and taken to hospital. Tests were overnight stay, I received a bill for €6. Wow, you should have complained. No, €6. It was nothing. It's America Max. The government is no longer there to protect against bad people business. The government seems to be there to protect bad people and businesses. Could you explain the gerrymandering process in the UK? I have no idea how it works there. Now, I'm not an expert on it, but from what I know, the local council, and actually QA Library might be better to respond to this. He's an expert on these things. Boundary changes, yes, and photo ID. So the boundary change would be, okay, what we do is, this seat is a marginal. Well, let's split it up into 2 seats, or let's merge this with a seat that is one that we already hold, so we don't actually have to fight it anymore. So the people who actually vote in that constituency have less power. What I'll do is I'll have a look into it in more detail, and I might do a video on it because it's an interesting topic, and it's something that's going to have a big impact in the future. Either I'll do it or Phil probably will do it. Let me see. How does infinite growth work? Infinite growth does not work. Who is this gerrymandering? He's a half Irish, half Chinese man. Census done at the end of each decade, and then they redraw the map based on it. William, are you talking about the UK or the US? I think it works the same in both, actually. Okay, so I'm going to stay on the live stream for another maybe 20 minutes. So we have 60 viewers. That's great. Poundland. So I want to re-establish the Kingdom of Wessex and Harry and Meghan as their figureheads. So guys, just to keep it light, half Chinese, half Irish singer, UK. Okay, thanks, William. What do you guys think of this this situation with Harry and Meghan? So some people are saying that this whole thing exploded because Meghan is not British enough, or maybe not. It's not even British. It's not white enough, which I actually didn't know she was mixed race until people pointed it out to me. You know, people were saying, "Oh my God, Harry is marrying a black woman. Or African American." And when I saw her, and I mean no offense in this, but I was like, really? I don't know. You know, she looks Italian almost to me. So, who becomes the Duke and Duchess of Sussex now that they're retiring? Maybe NK, you can put your name, send in your CV to Buckingham Palace. You basically take 5 marginals and try and find all the voters for one party and pack them into one constituency, giving you 4 safe seats and then 1. That's the concept. It's not in the with the goal of democracy. Thanks very much for that explanation, William. What would take 2,500 word paper? It's not simple to explain. Northern Ireland is a prime example of how groups get their own member of Northern Ireland Parliament. Blue Penguin, hello again. I don't know if I said hello to you before. I hope they move to Canada permanently. Would love them here. The UK media are just awful to them. He got involved with an American divorcee. We should have seen the writing on the wall. I blame Prince Philip. He has issues with diversity. Probably Prince Philip was banging on about, I don't want that one in my house. I don't want that one in my house. What was it? What was it? Alfie? Oh, I don't. My mind is not working these days. Was that the guy who used to be on TV in the 80s? He was a sort of armchair racist. Damn it! I forget his name. This is the wondrous distraction from Iran at just the right time. Which is, Victor Sneller. This is, well, for the Americans, I was actually worried about, an escalation here. And an escalation would actually help Donald Trump. But instead, I think I have a new subscriber. Let me see who it is. O'Larkin. Oops. Okay. Alf Garnett, thank you very much. Mr. and Mrs. Hewitt can go wherever they wish Hewitt, as long as I no longer have to pay for them. Yes, I think some people were talking about that on the comments. Alf Garnett, is that actor still alive? The one who played Alf Garnett. Maybe should bring him back for post Brexit. Would he be a Brexiteer or a Remainer? I'll let you guess the answer to that. He will have an accident within a year. Oops. Just got to stay away from French underpasses. What would be the historical Robespierre want to see in 2020? Well, I'd say what would Robespierre want to see in 2020? I think he'd want Macron maybe gone, someone else in charge. He wouldn't be too happy with the situation in France. Warren Mitchell, oh, he's dead. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. BNP supporter. Really? The actor, I hope he wasn't a BNP supporter. Robespierre probably would want... he wouldn't be too happy with Boris Johnson, I don't think. So... Unless what do you think? What do I want for this year? To get Brexit done? No. I hope that Boris Johnson is telling lies, and that he doesn't actually want to crash out without a deal. So I really hope that the damage that Brexit does is limited, and that the Labour Party put in someone as leader, a strong leader who will hold Boris Johnson to account, hold his feet to the fire, and not allow him, to hide in a fridge whenever things get hot or difficult for him. Isn't it about time we stopped pissing about and just did decriminalize cannabis? There is no reason. I've always wondered, why is this the case? Why is it perfectly legal? Without his head dropping off. Why is it perfectly legal for me to go out, buy a bottle of whiskey or vodka or whatever, drink it all, without a problem? There's no problem with me doing that. But I can't do the same with marijuana. You're allowed to have a certain amount, 20 grams or 5 grams or something. Why is it, or the plant, why is it illegal to grow a plant? For example, belladonna is, I think it's in Italian, it's called belladonna, or I think it's also the same in English. It's a plant that's used in heart medicine. Now I can grow it, but it's toxic if I ate the leaves or put them in a tea or something. Baby Yoda for Labour. That would actually be a good idea. I could die. It would stop my heart, belladonna, if I ate it. But I can grow a plant of it, and there isn't a problem. But I don't know of anyone who's died from eating marijuana. But it's illegal. Illegal even to grow it. Why is it illegal to grow it? I can grow tobacco in my garden. No one's going to arrest me for that. But I can't. It doesn't. For me, it doesn't make any sense why marijuana is illegal. Because I don't know of any other plant that is illegal. I can grow anything, unless it's something infesting. And then David Cameron would have something to say about it. Do you remember he used government funds to remove wisteria from his home, which is infesting. The 11 months of transition period where the Brexiteers are laughing how great Brexit has been are going to kill me inside. See that, and yes, and it's all going to be based on lies, because the UK will still be following all the rules of the European Union. Everything is going to be pretty much the same for 11 months, and the Brexiteers will be saying, see, everything's great, everything's great, everything's great. There's no problem. Yes, because you're still, in a sense, part of the European Union. Officially, you're no longer part of the European Union. Officially, the UK is out. Foxglove digitalis is used. Okay. It grows wild. Yeah. Well, why? But I could grow it in my garden and it wouldn't be illegal. Why is that? So, yeah, they're going to laugh and laugh and laugh, but laughing about what? It's just another demonstration that they don't understand what Brexit is about. Also, the actor who played his socialist son-in-law was Sherry Blair's dad, and himself very left in memory serves me. Christmas at Blair's would have been interesting, yes. So, are you a toker? Someone who smokes pot? No. Actually, I don't smoke it. Because I've never really had the crave for it, actually. You know, if I'm going to do it, I do it because I want to. But if I don't want to, if I don't feel the need to do it, then I don't. Say, I'm not someone who smokes it and says, okay, it needs to be legalized. But I just don't see the sense of it being illegal. As I said, you can grow foxglove in your garden, which is toxic, and but that's perfectly fine. I can grow tobacco. I can buy a tobacco plant and grow it in my garden, and that's legal. But I can't think of any other plant unless it's something, infesting, that maybe because of some bylaws or something, some local laws that don't permit you to grow a certain plant, but that's because it's going to damage buildings or something. But marijuana, you can't grow marijuana. It's illegal. It doesn't make any sense to me. It should be legal. It's a lot safer than alcohol. Of course it is. You don't hear about people getting high and then beating each other up in the middle of the street or smashing cars and stuff. In Canada, we can grow 4 plants. I got a tent. Lucky for you. As I said, I don't really smoke it, but, I'm willing to try it. I tried it a bit in the past, but I had no effect. I didn't probably smoke it right. I'm not a smoker, so I'm not good at smoking. I breathed it in and I was like, choking, and I was like, okay, to hell with this. It seems too much hassle. It's much easier just to drink a glass of something. I think Brexit has been... So you're learning a lot about me now, which is not all very cool or anything like that. I think Brexit has been a shallow attempt to use the right to gain political power. Let's see how they deliver. They won't deliver, Ian, I think. Because they won't have to. They just have to sell the idea that they delivered. See, we got Brexit done. And for most people, that would be sufficient. See, Boris Johnson could... This is completely plausible, what I'm going to say. Boris Johnson could turn around and decide, we're not leaving the European Union, but we just won't tell people. And Brexiteers wouldn't be able to wouldn't know the difference. All he'd have to say, yeah, we left. How would they know? How would they tell? Anything that could be presented as, well, but I'm able to go to France without a problem because we worked out an agreement with France. So that, don't worry about that. Everything else we've left. I sent Max an adulterated brown. Well, I want to go to. See, that's probably the best way for me to consume marijuana is to actually eat it. Because I have a sweet tooth. So when I'm in Amsterdam, I know there are bars and pastry shops where you can get muffins. A friend of mine actually went there some years ago, and they give you a little notice. So if there's somebody I know there's somebody on the channel who's from Amsterdam or from the Netherlands, but they said they give you a little note and say, don't eat all this in one go. And instead they ate it all in one go and they started feeling weird. What do you think the prospects of Brexit killing Lexit off are once it's gone, or once it's wrong? Killing off at once it goes wrong. Reckon they'll just blame it on the Tories and say it wasn't a real Brexit. So the Labour Brexit, I don't think it's going to be really a case because some sort of Brexit is going to take place. So if Boris Johnson actually decided, no, we're actually not going to go through with Brexit, I don't think he'd say it officially or publicly. I think it's more likely we'll keep it hush-hush and just stay in the European Union and tell the Brexiteers, yeah, we've left. We can cheer, we can have our celebration. Because, most people don't understand what the European Union is or represents or does. Most people who voted for Brexit didn't understand Brexit. You ask them and they give you 500 different responses. So the people who wanted to, Boris Johnson could stay in the European Union and just keep, for example, something related to taxes in order to keep a certain wing within the Conservative movement or the Conservative Party happy. If he did that, that would be sufficient for him to stay in power. Because he would just tell the public, yeah, we delivered Brexit. And anyone who's telling you different is lying. The ERG have no more say. The ERG are very quiet at the moment. Hi Max, have you seen John Pillager's Dirty War? No, I haven't seen it yet. I have to see it. I keep meaning to see it, but I haven't. I might actually try and watch it tomorrow. I went to all about unicorns. I went to Amsterdam and came back to America, and I was pulled aside at the airport. And questioned. I didn't use marijuana, and it was very uncomfortable feeling. I know I read about how in Colorado, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, it's legal. But if you buy it with your credit card and you're not from Colorado, you could risk going to prison or getting a fine or something because you're buying illegal drugs with a credit card in a state where it's legal, but in the state where you were issued the credit card, it is illegal. So you could be buying it legally, but because you used your credit card that's from another state, say Texas, you could be in trouble. Now, that's what I heard. Now, I don't know if it's actually the case. That's why they need to legalize it federally, not just in a few states. My clip of the year was the awkward Nigel Farage live kicked in the head by a horse. Yeah, that was hilarious. Jacob Peacefog. That's a horrible image, actually. I'm not sure. The only intake is the horrifically Brexity branch from a German satire site. Anything drastic going to happen in Italy during 2020? Not that I know of. The coalition government we have seems quite stable. Now, we have the right-wing Matteo Salvini, who's making a lot of noise on social media. But I don't know if he's making any real gains in polls or anything. And if the government are able to be boring I think they can succeed in staying in power. So this is the government that's made up of the Five Star Movement and the Democratic Party, which is a centre-left party. If they can just stay boring, Italy needs boring politicians at the moment, then I think they'll be able to stay in power for the foreseeable future. But Italy has a very bad history of, voting in someone and then 2 years later voting them out, or even less than 2 years. They probably have laws for that. True that they can be recruited. Loyalty to Bozo seems stronger. Harry and Meghan resign from their royal duties because they want to be financially independent. The British are outraged for the nation leaving the EU because it wants to be financially independent. Yes. How dare you be financially independent? Because we want to be financially independent. Did you see the video of Barry Gardner calling Johnson a liar? It's a contender for. I think I did a video on that. I don't remember, but come on, it's Italy. That's just it. Italy is dysfunctional. Everything in Italy is dysfunctional. I'm not going to go into details. It's too long and boring. How dysfunctional Italy is. No offense to any Italians who might be on the stream, but you probably agree with me. America's a mess. We have Trump. Hold on. Okay, Tories will be loyal to Bojo. America's a mess. We have Trump. The UK is unstable. They have Boris. Max, we demand at least one story about things going badly where you live. Okay, I promise. Because the only video I really uploaded about Italy recently was the dinghy with Mary and Joseph inside. But I think I talked about that at the last live stream. So after Berlusconi, I'd expect Italians to keep their head down. And Berlusconi hasn't gone away. That's the thing. Berlusconi is still buying for power. He's still sticking his nose in where it's not wanted. I present to you Boris Johnson, national champion of shooting oneself in the foot. Stay tuned. The thing about Boris Johnson saying, I prefer to be dead in a ditch in front of the police officer, and then one of the police officers fainted because she'd been standing there for 2 hours waiting for Boris to turn up. Earlier I posted a link to the YouTube page reminder originally sent to me. You probably want to disallow folk posting links in the chat. No, I think that's okay. But I think Bojo quite happy to keep in with the ERG anyway. I suspect that he thinks it gives him leverage. So it's interesting to know how big is the ERG at the moment. Like Jacob Rees-Mogg is still on the front bench. So how long is that going to last? Troy Lord, thank you very much. Do you feel we in Republic of Ireland are too harsh in calling current events as merely the exposure of toxic undercurrents of British culture that were always there? Do you feel that we in the Republic of Ireland are too harsh in calling current events as merely as exposure of toxic undercurrents? Can you explain that question in a bit more detail? I'm not. So you're saying that people in the Republic of Ireland the current events are as toxic in. No, I don't. I'm really sorry. I don't understand your question. Can you explain it in a bit more detail? What about here? He stole the journalist's phone. Yes. It was a link to, but Fair's the man's point is a good one. I think I may have actually retweeted him, but without actually seeing the video, because I saw the video of him complaining about Boris Johnson. I'm trying to still understand TW Tweelord. Do you feel we in Republic of Ireland are too harsh in calling current events as merely the exposure of toxic undercurrents of British culture that were always there? I'm not sure. I still don't understand what your question is. In what sense are toxic? Which aspects are toxic? Are you saying that the toxic undercurrents have always existed, or? I'd say you aren't too harsh. There are always a shifting to toxic undercurrents. Is there a problem in Ireland at the moment? Because as far as I know, there isn't, a toxic undercurrent in regards to immigration, I assume. The shift to the right. Unfortunately, I don't know that much about, because when I lived in Ireland, there was always this political apathy towards the government and to the main parties. There was always this, not Sinn Féin, but Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. What's the point in voting for one? There's no difference between the two of them. Now, I think maybe Sinn Féin, when they came in, they shook things up a bit, but I have been reading a little bit about some of the shift to the right, that the country is becoming more right wing, but I don't know if that's related to immigration, because I don't see a lot of support for anti-immigrant rhetoric in the Republic of Ireland. So he's saying that the current tensions in Northern Ireland are the fault of current events. Okay. I'm sorry. I completely misunderstood the question. So I'm related to, so the feelings, the toxic. Okay. I think there's bad blood between the government. Well, between the Irish and the English at the moment. So a good few people here claim Britain's tilt towards fascism is merely revealing a historic tendency towards its own self-aggrandizement. Oh, we have another. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for that. I guess what Tweelord alludes to is the inherent British exceptionalism mindset that has been shown its ugly face. I think it's this idea that there is the Irish are in the way, especially in Brexit, that we've even heard people on James O'Brien talking about, the Irish are the problem, we should invade Ireland. You can hear people like Nigel Farage talking about how Ireland should just leave the European Union. And no, I think you make a very valid point here, how this idea that the British are telling the Irish what to do. You should leave the European Union, you should vote out, you should quit, you should join us. There were even people talking about how, okay, the best way to solve the solution between Northern Ireland and the Republic regarding the border is for the Republic of Ireland to rejoin with the UK. Now, to say that to the people in Ireland, I think was very offensive, because the people who were saying it had no understanding of how the Irish people were treated during the last 700 years, 800 years. So I think that type of language fed in completely to this toxic feeling within the Irish society. Look, the English want something again from us. The English want to separate us from the European Union. The English want to piss all over us. Excuse my French. Can we get a naked calendar? Love your content. Don't know if you are aware how toxic your comment section can get, but loads of fighting back. Good work, guys. Naked calendar, I think you guys don't deserve that type of punishment. It's I try and keep on top of it, and it's difficult, and I've seen a lot of people getting their comments deleted, and I hate to see that, because sometimes the comments are maybe should be deleted, but the unfortunate thing is that I can't control everything. Now, what I'm considering doing, calendar girl style, not saying it would make it easy for us to rise above, worried we might be showing too much counter-aggression, wondering what a neutral party you see. What a neutral party sees. I think the Irish have been extremely open to accommodating Brexit, accommodating and welcoming to British people who were have been considering moving to Ireland. So I think any toxicity is not towards the British people, but I think it's towards the British government, and I think it's always been pretty much that way. Irish people traveling. My own father as well. He lived in the UK for a long time, and he told me he never experienced any racism from the British people. But behind closed doors, in politics, I think the British have always considered the Irish to be inferior. And I think a lot of the Irish knew this, that look at Northern Ireland, for example, how Northern Ireland was pretty much abandoned. And I don't think the English people think this, but I think it's something probably the Tories or the political elite have always looked at Northern Ireland as an Irish problem. It's not something we want to defend, it's something we want to maintain. I think it's something that is it's always been a problem, something that we have to deal with. It's almost like Boris Johnson and his get Brexit done. I'm not getting Brexit done because Brexit is something good. It's like getting a tooth removed. I get it done. And they've always treated Northern Ireland in the same way. And the Republic is interfering. And we've seen it during the debates regarding Brexit. Watch many of James O'Brien's videos where people, when it comes to Northern Ireland or people, the Republic of Ireland, it's always the Irish are interfering. The Irish are a problem. It's not we want to work with the Irish. It's we need to get the Irish out of the way. Now, that's the way I see it. Now, I'm injecting probably a little bit of my own bias into that because I'm from Ireland. But I'm trying to be as neutral as possible. But that's all I can say really. Electronic Fred, good night. The British government have chosen to be chosen by British people. This is what they are now. Again, I think Sir Antonius Block, not really, because a minority of voters voted for Boris Johnson. Max, your subscriber go through the roof if you made that calendar. It ain't happening, dude. I'm thinking about it, but I'm trying to get the image out of my mind. Do you think there should be any role in public life for Jeremy Corbyn going forward? Or would it be? I think Jeremy Corbyn should go back to the backbenches, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it in a good way. That's where he was strongest. Jeremy Corbyn shouting, an angry man. You know, if you look at the videos of him from the 1980s, the 1990s, shouting from the backbenches, you know, he didn't do any harm. Jimmy Gunn, good evening. If one thing is more complicated than Brexit, it's Ireland. People shouldn't comment if they have no clue. I studied it at university and I still don't fully understand. Yes. Some people have asked me, can you explain about the situation in Northern Ireland in 20 minutes or 5 minutes? And no. And I'm not even an expert on it. Do it. 100,000 Irish passports were issued to British and Irish background since 2017. Does Nigel Farage have an Irish passport? That'd be interesting. No, I think he has a German one or a French one. I don't remember which it is. I hope that your comments aren't all that costly. €5 a pop. Thanks very much, Tweelord, for your super chat. As you're very kind. Do all comments get highlighted thus after donation? Is that how it works? If you're just the generous, or he's very kind, very generous. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know if all of them went through, or I'll have to check at the end. You're quite wrong. Jeremy highlighted many things wrong with the country that no other politician was willing to. No, I'm not saying he was not highlighting things. I think as a leader, he's probably not the best person to be in charge. I think it would be better to have him as a backbencher or someone on the sidelines. You don't have to do naked. The calendar can be pictures of your favorite guillotines. Or I can do a picture of me sharpening a guillotine with a whetstone. He was refused the German ones, just in case got that. The quick way to answer the question is, there are people in Northern Ireland still fighting a war that is 800 years old. Yes, well put. I do the most anti-England thing, making a coffee. Media basically assassinate. I think, but see the problem. Whitey Sneaky. Thank you very much. Okay, if there is, so I'll do a vote on. But it won't be naked, guys. I'm not going to punish you that way. But maybe I'll do some type of character. I really need to get some 18th century costume. So I'll see about investing in that, and I'll do some posing with that. Labour won't be back in power until they have approved Red Tory. Oh, do you think Keir Starmer is a Red Tory? Are you religious? No, I used to be a Roman Catholic, but until the age of reason, as George Carlin said. No, I was Roman Catholic, but then I bounced about a bit. I joined a Presbyterian group in Dublin, and then a Free Bible Church. And when I was in my early 20s, I didn't know where I was. So I eventually, after a while, just stopped believing, because I started reading, and I think it was YouTube probably at the time as well. Or no, it was before YouTube. Just reading comments online about, questions about God, and I eventually lost belief. Max in the powdered wig and dark glasses. No, I'll pay a $5 to not do it. Yes, I'll pay a $5 not to do it as well. If you wear sunglasses, you'll not be naked. You guys are crazy. Because Jeremy said he'd do the Leveson Inquiry Part 2. Jess Phillips is my girl. So I like Jess Phillips, but I am afraid that it's too easy to super chat on iPhone. Then everyone should be using an iPhone. Jess Phillips, I like Jess Phillips, but I don't know if she's leadership material. So I don't know if she would be a good leader. So I'm sort of reading the comments as well. And the axe grinding thing could be quite an erotic attachment. I'll pay 100 English pounds if you do it. Also, the media portray hard left as unacceptable and unelectable, but having a hard right government is okay. I don't think it's about the media manipulate, so you have to use the media. So I think I've talked about this in some of the videos as well. Look, the Labour Party said that Jeremy lost because the media were against him. Then you have to use the media. Look at the way Donald Trump, the media were completely against him. They were calling him a buffoon. They were saying he's an idiot. He hasn't a hope. And he went on TV and he won over people. Now, I'm not using him as an example of what you should become or what the Labour Party leader should become. But if you're savvy, throw out some controversial issues, controversial topics, swear a bit even. I'm just throwing out some ideas here, but it will make you controversial, and then people will listen to you. People want to hear what you have to say, because you have to realize that the media want to drive traffic to their websites, to drive traffic to their, advertising base. Max, these chats are wonderful, and we love your site. Thank you very much. Stop asking to see Max nude. You lot are exactly. They are very weird. This is a very weird channel I have. Weird people. Max on the religion of a member of the Catholic Club and meetings at the Quaker House. For me, that's okay. I've lost the chat. The SNP out left Labour. Labour isn't hard or extreme left, just left. So it's interesting what's happening in the Labour Party at the moment. And there's also talk about having a Labour Party that's separate for Scotland. So James Lindsay, what do you think about that? And any Scots here as well. Do you think a Labour Party just for Scotland would be could actually win votes? Make sure everyone thumbs up. Please do thumb up the live stream. It helps the channel, because Google are not very nice people and they like to limit the views on the channel. Everyone here is watching your stuff daily, should give a little something back if they can. There's few outlets like, thank you very much, Glasgow Kiss. I'm hoping to visit Glasgow or Edinburgh this year. So if I'm in the area, perhaps we can meet up for a few whiskies. I've never been to Scotland, so that's a shame of mine. I haven't been there yet. Also remember, Corbyn got beaten up for 3 years by the right-wing media and 1 legal month of campaigning to undo the programming. I understand that, but he shouldn't have. He was painted, he was cornered, and he said, okay, I'm going to jump with the others and allow Boris Johnson to have his election. But he signed up for that as well. Look, maybe I'm beating too much on Jeremy Corbyn, but he signed up for it, so he has to take responsibility. All the main parties in Scotland, the Scottish part, are somewhat independent from Scotland and Wales. So I think it was Clive. What's his name? Clive something. He was talking on Sky News, I think. No, it was on Channel 4 News about supporting an independent Scottish Labour Party. Now, as you said, there already is a Scottish Labour Party, but he was talking about Clive Lewis, I think it is. Yes, Clive Lewis was talking about having an independent Scottish Labour Party. But then if it's independent, what's the point on the Labour Party having a Scottish party there if it's not going to be connected with the Labour Party? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Keir Starmer has a chance to meet Murdoch because he has a title. Labour is dead in Scotland. They sided with the Tories in the Better Together campaign, but they work hand in hand with the Tories to keep the SNP out. Yes, I agree. A lifelong atheist. I'm always far more impressed with the other who grew up in religion and left than those who were fortunate enough not to be brought up. Yes. Meant to be England and Wales. Tweelord. I hope I'm pronouncing you right. Twilight Princess. Name is based on Twilight Princess. Turned out to be my least favourite Zelda. The Legend of Zelda, yes. Life lesson. You got paid, but some in the Blast the Tories fund. Thank you so much for all the super chats you've sent. You need to write more normal comments. You don't need to be sending super chats all the time. I don't want you to go broke, but they're much appreciated. Have you been watching the Witcher? I haven't. I have Netflix. I have it shared with my sister, but I haven't been. I haven't watched it yet because my wife is a bit skeptical of The Witcher. She's normally skeptical of things that are popular for some reason. So I don't want to watch that. It's popular, which is I think a bit of a silly attitude. They don't wish to have separate parties as they could be fractionists to the. Excuse me. You're being harsh on Corbyn in that one. He couldn't stop the election vote, so it'd be suicide to look scared by an election by voting against. You're right, but the problem I saw with that, the problem with Corbyn's position was that he had ample opportunity to avoid giving Boris Johnson the chance. Dave Allen, was that Alan Foster and Allen? No, Dave Allen. Anyway, but I believe that he had, ample opportunity to stop Boris Johnson, to form a government of national unity, at least to try. And that would have taken away Boris Johnson's strongest card, Brexit. Imagine if Brexit had been removed. There was a vote, a referendum, and people voted to remain. Yes, Boris Johnson could run on we're going to have another referendum on Brexit, or we're going to try and get Brexit, or it was a sham or whatever. But would he have had the same clout as he did going into the general election? I don't think so. I was brought up Catholic but saw the light at about the age of 8. Wow. But the damage was already done. I wasn't, as I said, I didn't really leave religion until I was in my 20s. But I wasn't very religious. I just went to church on Sunday out of routine, as about 90% of Irish people do. I go to church on Sunday because I go to church on Sunday because there's church on Sunday. And I remember Dave Allen fondly. Dave Allen was a world famous Irish comedian. Dave Allen. "100% true. You criticised him for voting for the motion as well. By that point on that day, Corbyn had no choice." I guess can you give us your best Ian Paisley No, you're right, Ian, but sorry, William, but I think really what messed up his chances was the SNP and the Liberal Democrats jumping to have a vote. So can you do your best, Ian Paisley? Never, 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 never. I hope that was good enough. Ulster says no. My nan got good rest. Her look after Dave when she was a child. Max, you could have enjoyed a whiskey with Dave Allen. Damn, I have to. Is he? Was a genius. Is he? Did he die? I now I'll have to have a look online about Dave Allen. What do you think of the fact that Brits are technically a technocratic monarchy, head of state? Must never be Catholic. Once again, I don't understand today why being Catholic is a problem. I think it's built into the system. It's not. If you were to ask probably members of the royal family, is it a problem to be Catholic? They'd probably say no, but they don't understand that it's built into the system. So, it's difficult to remove the eggs from the cake. Even though you know that actually we don't need to have eggs in the cake. It can be a vegan cake. But what do you think about the do British people really care about, the defender of the faith, the idea that the Queen must be a Protestant? I think most people don't know or don't really care. This is the thing about how Britain has changed over the last 100 years. If you went into the centre of London, I think most people wouldn't, they'd regard the Queen as, a tourist attraction, really. Someone who's there out of tradition, but they don't really care, and maybe they don't know the true, what's really behind the whole thing. Dead on stage with okay. After drinking, giving up smoking and maybe drinking. Ouch. Your wife sounds very sensible. I don't want the government, any government, near my internet. If you look at how quickly, so I didn't hear a response from my never, 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 never Ian Paisley impression. I hope it was convincing. No, do not care. I'm a bit over the time, so I promise I'll need to end the stream in maybe another 5 minutes. Okay. But I love the stream, and it's been a pleasure talking to all of you guys. The royals aren't able to marry one, as the Queen is head of the church. Its rules are all that pish. This is the thing about the Queen, is like, the Queen is the head of state. The Queen is allegedly the most powerful individual in Britain, but she's not able to do a lot of things. In this case, they kind of don't need a cake. I think they should keep the Queen as the head of the church and get a president to separate the two, and then they have to rebrand. But yeah, you have to keep the Queen because she attracts tourists, and Buckingham Palace is very popular with foreigners. So you have to keep the Queen. But a president would make more sense. At least it's someone is elected. 7 out of 10 on the impression. Oh, good effort, but not good. Not close, but no cigar. Now do Jerry Adams. Jerry Adams is not so easy. I need to think of something Jerry Adams normally says. A United Ireland? We're going to have a United Ireland in the future? Oh, that's terrible. Dave Allen. Sorry, I can't believe I don't remember Dave Allen. May your God go with you. May your God go with you. I must check him out now. I probably listened to him when I was a child or when I was younger. Can you imagine the press conferences? Yes. I love the streams. Do more if you can. I will. I promise. Totally different to commenting on a video. And you get to speak to all these fine folks. Yes. You guys are the best. And as I've said before, it's the stream is much more interactive. Get to respond to you guys directly. Just leave it running so we can chat and get drunk, Max. It's like Paisley's back from the dead. Oh, thank you. Father Jack, do him. Drink! Fick! Gurgles! Arse! There's not much really to remember with Father Jack. Or, that would be an ecumenical matter. There was one episode where it was Father Ted tried to get him to say something different. Labour needs to kick the Corbynites and the Labour left and make the Blairite leader all-powerful within the party. I don't think about an all-powerful leader, but I think leadership should be, supported by everyone, if it's possible to get some type of pragmatic leader. You're doing a great job, Mac. Thank you very much. Need to go and catch up with all your next. Very good. Thank you. I need to go too. I should have been in bed half an hour ago, but I'm addicted to the chat, to the live stream. And because the technology is working tonight, eventually, finally, I don't want to quit. The royal family on TikTok, that should shake the balance of power in Westminster. Oh my God. Are any of you guys using TikTok? I was thinking, okay, I heard about this TikTok, but can I use it for my channel? I don't know. It's like short videos of like 12 seconds or 15 seconds, and then they add music. You can add music. I don't understand the appeal of it. I installed it on my phone, but then I eventually just removed it because I didn't understand it. I'm too old. I think that every generation has their own. So there's the boomers have fax machines. You have then Benny Hill. Then was it the next generation after boomers is maybe Generation X? I don't know. No, there must be another generation before that. Generation X, for example, they had what? iPhones? No, I'm thinking of apps. Facebook, maybe, or Twitter. And then you had the next generation, which is Generation Z, which are maybe Instagram, yes. And then the newest generation, little kids, it's 11:30 in Australia. Sir Antonius Block, are you in Australia? How's the situation there? Are there still fires? Has it affected the area where you're in? Millennials, yes, I should remember that. Millennials are on. Well, millennials and Generation Z are the same, no? Hey mate, good luck with the channel. Thank you very much. Harpial Kalsi. I'm terrible with names. I always butcher names. What's the generation that wore dungarees? That would have been Generation X. My God, I remember seeing some pictures of generation, like the people from the 1980s, the clothes people wore in the 1980s, tracksuits with like 25 different colors on them, and the hair. Was after boomers. We had ghetto blasters and punk rock. Ghetto blasters, yes. I don't know if you guys have seen the video on YouTube of a guy who's in his Generation X, but he hands his kids, who are 10-year-olds or 8-year-olds, a cassette, music cassette, and what else? It was an old computer, and they had fun with that. They actually thought the cassette you can connect in your headphones and it would play music. What do you think of the chances of a referendum on a united Ireland? So this is an interesting question, because would a referendum, and now I need to revise the Good Friday Agreement, but would a united Ireland referendum include the Republic of Ireland? Because if it would, there would be a very good chance of it passing. But if it's just for the Republic, just for Northern Ireland, it's a bit more. It's less than 50-50. Now, officially, according to polls, it's 50-50. Before I go, Max, you should check out Gordon Dimmock. Yeah, I know Gordon. He's very good. A lot of good info on US foreign policy. I agree with him, but he is a Brexiteer. I don't know if you know that. He's left wing, but he's a Brexiteer. But I'm not going to hold that completely against him. Leg warmers, yes. No fires, but the smell of smoke hangs in the air. Okay. It's devastating what happened in Australia. And unfortunately, the Prime Minister seems to be turning a blind eye or running away from the problem, as far as I know. Tweelord again, thank you very much. Live tip, press shift and ampersand to speed up the stream. Oh, thank you very much. You shouldn't be doing this. I should know these things. Also, Republic and Ireland are getting two separate okay. I should interview you for the channel, because you're an expert on this topic. So they're going to get two separate referendums. So it'd be interesting which one goes first, because if the Republic voted, overwhelmingly to have a united Ireland, I think it would greatly influence the Northern Ireland result, and I think also vice versa. If there was a very strong support for a united Ireland in Northern Ireland, then it would greatly affect the result, because people would vote in solidarity, I think. But of course, we don't have any dates yet. We don't know when it's going to happen, and we also don't even know what the questions will be. Do you want a united Ireland, or do you want to stay in the UK, or do you want to stay in the UK? Yes or no? I think it'll be interesting how the referendum will be. The questions will be written, and then also the campaigning, because the unionist community would be, of course, campaigning against the result, or against having against a united Ireland, of course. And it'd be interesting if there's going to be the whole issue of social media involvement. So, news from Airbus, they say they did say they pull out of the UK, especially if there's no deal, but Bloomberg reporting Airbus pledges expansion in the UK after Brexit. How big is that expansion? That's the thing. And I think after Brexit, it's still, they're holding their cards to their chest in a sense. I wouldn't mention the UK in the question. Good night, Max. Good. Gotta go. Love these live streams. Look forward to lots more. Thank you very much, NK. The human-made climate change a lie by scientists. Is human-made climate science a lie by scientists? No, I don't think so. A little help from Russia. Yes. Yes, indeed. Where a unionist campaign to boycott, to invalidate. Thank you very much again for this for this super chat. You're worried that the unionist campaign, I think it could be, but I don't. It's not. I don't think it would be as strong as the Brexit campaign, where in respect to Brexit, there was a huge amount of money being pumped in. And because of alignment after Brexit, I think many unionists are probably going to resign to the idea, look, we're going to have a united Ireland at some stage, so what's the point in fighting it? Paul Neville, good night. Thank you very much for the comment and being on the stream. What are you doing to celebrate Brexit? I'll be dying in a ditch with some Buckfast. So hang on, if it isn't a lie, why is not every single person on the earth trying to stop it? No, I don't understand your question, Ian. No, you said, is human-made climate change a lie by scientists? Why is not everyone... Because people are lazy. Why are people not trying to stop it? Because people don't want to change. You know, to give you an example, it's not a fantastic example, but here where I live, about 10 years ago, they brought in recycling for plastic and paper and stuff like that. Steer clear of large wooden ladies with blades until next time. Sorry, I missed the first part of that. Steer clear of large wooden ladies with blades. Oh yeah, sorry, I'm stupid. No, about climate change. So yes, about separation of rubbish. So we had to separate plastic and paper and whatever. Many people say, what's the point? I don't want to do this. It's not going to benefit me. And many people just saw it as a problem and didn't want to do it. So many people don't want to change their habits there. And then a lot of people are also saying, oh, well, what's the point in us in Europe doing it if China are not doing it? In a sense, if my neighbor is burning rubbish in his garden, well, why shouldn't I do the same? Breakfast. So how can I say that? Breakfast celebration. Full Irish with French toast, Belgian waffles, German sausages, name more, yes. Isn't it Italian? There's also Italian sausage, but it's slightly different. It's more like a salami. Damn it, I think you have them all. Tweelord. Guys, you have to think of something else. Another breakfast. That's if you don't have that name copyrighted, you need to. Breakfast celebration. Wish Labour had. If scientists are correct, no political views will matter. But that's like saying, well, we know homelessness is a problem. So then, then the politicians should be fighting it. No, because there's no political will to. And of course, many politicians are in the pockets of particular lobbies. For example, the fossil fuel industry. Italian coffee, of course. Briss88. Italian pizza. No, there is no such thing. Okay. Cotton Cat, there is no such thing as Italian pizza. There is just pizza. Okay. No offense to my American friends, but if you say to Italians, Italian pizza, they'll look at you in a very strange way. This is why the left needs to present green technologies as an opportunity, not something that we have to do out of no choice. Look at Elon Musk, who's presenting alternatives using electricity, spam baked beans and spam, and solar energy. Solar energy creates more jobs than coal has ever created. This is why I asked the question: are scientists correct or not on climate change? Well, I think it's a strange. It's no offense, but it sounds like a strange question, because the scientists, the people who have studied it, and 99%, the vast majority of them, say that it's man-made. That our lifestyle, our industries, everything that we're doing, is adding to greenhouse gas emissions. So not just carbon dioxide, but other like methane and other gases, which are causing these problems, increasing the temperatures and causing climate change. And they are correct, but politicians don't do things because they think it's correct. Politicians act when they feel that they can win votes. So if people put pressure, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing more and more pressure from ordinary people on politicians to change their policy. Politicians don't change policies without pressure. Look at, for example, in the United States over the last 20 years, for example, gay marriage. Barack Obama was not a supporter of gay marriage until 2011 or something like that, when the entire population or the majority of people in America, not the entire population, but the majority of people came around to the idea that, why do we have a problem with this? If two people love each other, they should be permitted to marry. We don't have a problem with this anymore. Then the politicians followed suit. Now, some of them, like Bernie Sanders, were ahead of the curve, but politicians like Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton decided, okay, this is something we need to support. So they didn't do it because they truly felt it inside. They followed they literally put not literally, they figuratively put their finger in the air. They licked their finger, put it in the air and said, okay, which way is the wind blowing? More and more people support this position, then we'll go with that. If enough people put pressure on politicians to support green energy and stuff, you can see it in certain countries. It's happening in Germany, for example, is one of the leaders in green energy, because the people care about this and they put pressure on their politicians. So even conservatives in Germany are, fully on board with dealing with climate change. It depends on the people. If you go to Texas, no offense to people in Texas, if there's anyone, but most people in Texas don't care about the climate, so the politicians don't care. Oil is stopped due to the war in the Middle East. Just think of all the EV cars that can get sold due to the jump. Yeah, and if we look at how electric cars are getting better and better, still not sure how the electric car works, with most people don't have a garage to charge them. We need more. This is, for example, I've talked about this before, maybe not on the channel, but with people. I want to get seduced by Kamala Harris. No, Tulsi is my lady. Most governments could with a stroke of a pen completely change the problem of EVs, or electric vehicles. One of the big problems is range anxiety. So you're not sure how far you can go with the car because there's a risk of running down the battery. One of the problems is there are no charging stations. So I had an idea. Why couldn't the government say, for example, from the 1st of January 2021, all petrol stations, and petrol stations have a license to operate, there's a new amendment to this license. You need to have an EV charging station, and we'll give you an incentive in order to put them in. It's a lot more edgy. Klobuchar. She's aggressive, that one. So you could have a bill put in by the government, cost nothing to the government to put this in, and say from the 1st of January or 1st of May or whatever, all petrol stations, maybe within a certain size, you could just say it's only for bigger ones, must have a station to charge cars. And you would eliminate half of the problem related to electric vehicles, because many people are afraid they can't, go more than 200 kilometers or whatever with them. So do ICE cars and all fuel stations and fuel processing? By Horace. And Tulsi Gabbard at one night out of Sats is hilarious. Oil lobbyists don't pay politicians to advocate for clean fuels. I'm almost to the point of saying that maybe the solar companies should start giving money to politicians. The Tesla should be giving money to politicians because politicians don't care about where the money comes from. They only care. Let me correct that. They don't care about the money. They just will do where the bidding of where the money comes from. That's why I think someone like Bloomberg in the US shouldn't be running for president. He should be funding certain campaigns. It would be much more efficient than him running, spending money on advertising when he's not going to win the nomination. How will electric charging at petrol stations work if it takes several hours? Well, there are superchargers that Tesla actually have that can recharge a pretty big battery, as far as I know, in 30 minutes. So this could actually be a good business also for a petrol station. You park your car, you need half an hour. What do? You go into the cafe that's there and you order a coffee and a pastry or something, or a sandwich, or you play the slot machine or something. You can provide a service, snack bar or something like that, where people can park, recharge, or for example, near my local supermarket, there's an electric charging station. So you park your car, you go and do your shopping. Most shopping lasts half an hour at least. So that's half an hour of recharging time. And then what you're encouraging people to come in, you're getting people to stay there for half an hour so you can sell them products. We need to stop looking at the negative and look at the opportunity if you're a business owner, for example. Fast charging is also bad for the battery. I don't know if that's true, actually, because there have been tests done on, for example, the Tesla Model S, where they did fast charging. So they had a car, I don't remember, it was a YouTube video or an article I read. But they took a car, they drove it from, I think it was Los Angeles to San Francisco, I think it was. I don't remember exactly. But they drove it as part of a job or whatever. They drove it over and back every day. And they ran the battery almost down to zero. And they would supercharge it every day. And after, I think it was like 600,000 miles or 400,000 miles, it had done an incredible amount of mileage. It had lost something like 10% of the battery. Or maybe a bit more than, or maybe it was 15%. But after 400,000 miles. So, the car was driven to hell. And it still held quite a bit of battery charge because it was of quality, I think. Glasgow Kiss, the new one out this week. You're looking at 20 minutes. Wow. Electric cars are cheaper. It's that simple. See, they're cheaper in the long term, but the price, of course, up front is higher. Tesla should be putting superchargers all around the UK. Not only would they stand out like a sore thumb, but it would surely encourage sales instead of doing Francis Flintstone once battery is dead. What do you drive, Max? I have a 2009 Kia Ceed or Ceed. I don't remember how you pronounce it. And it's paid for, so I'm not in debt with it. But then I need it so my wife drives that, and then I have an Alfa Romeo Mito. So it's like a small Alfa Romeo. So, but my next car I need to buy is a hybrid or electric. I'd prefer electric, but there aren't many charging stations where I am. If you had 6 chargers in a station and everyone had electric cars, the queues would be massive. I think also software can deal. So, okay, this station is full, go to the next one. Or a lot of people would, charge at home if possible. Or, you'd have charging stations popping up all over the place, like in the, along the street, or things like parking spaces. So, hybrid, BMW Mini. No, maybe Kia again. I like the Kia Soul, for example. Or I'd love to get a Tesla Model S, but it's way outside my budget. So I'm looking around for an old one, like from 2012 or something, if the price is low enough. But it's not easy to find. And I don't want to buy something that's beaten up. Okay, I really need now to block the Troll Killer. Funghal Max. What I'm going to do, because of the problems of comments on the channel, what I'm considering now, this is up to you guys. If you're willing to do it, I can nominate some people as administrators. As I need to look into it in more detail, but I think I can do this. And if some of you are willing to do it, I can give you a privilege to moderate some of the comments, because I'm not able to do it all the time, and I trust in you guys. So if you're free, if you'd be interested, Tweelord, thank you very much. When Brexit ends, for content stream Xenoblade. Brexit will never end. Boris Johnson is going to extend it until 2050 probably. Mods go a long way. If I don't want to give someone a job to do, okay, it's only if you're interested, if you have time, if you want to. What I'll do is I'm going to have a look into this, and I can nominate some people as moderators, and they can delete some comments if they want. Because I'll try and respond as much as I can, but I receive hundreds of comments every day, so it's impossible for me. So if somebody's interested in doing it, I can make you a Judge Judy. The main issue with EV and range is people totally overestimate the time and distance they spend in a car. Most people, yeah. One of the things, that's QA Library, I agree 100%. One of the things I was talking about with my wife, I was like, I want to get an electric car. You mad trusting fool. I want to get an electric car. She says, but what if we need to go to the mountains? I said, yeah, but we go to the mountains probably twice a year. Boris Johnson being there on 10 p.m. in 2050. It's be like it was a Futurama, where you have Boris Johnson's head for president of the UK, and I didn't. That wasn't a misspeech, or maybe he'll be king of the UK. They'll change the rules and he could become king. So Boris Johnson's head for king. No, we don't vote for kings. I didn't vote for you. I'll block every comment except the ones posted by Jacob Rees-Mogg himself. Maybe the car cleaning places could install electric. Yeah, this is the thing. Electric is not the problem, because anywhere you go, if you go to a petrol station, there is a light, there is a machine, there is power. It's not a pump. It's not a foot pump or can you resurrect Michael Foot? That's Michael Foot. Michael Foot's head for president, for prime minister. Not sure if a moderator deleting comments is a good idea, but perhaps we should flag those persistent commenters who have trolled characteristically. Yes, that might be better. But I would trust some of you guys as moderators. But if you want to refer to someone as a troll, I can look into it and then I can put them on hidden or delete them. Good night, Max. See you, Space Cowboy. Thank you, Andrew, for joining the chat. As you review James O'Brien on a regular basis, do you know him personally? As I guess he has seen your YouTube channel. Are you in London yourself? No, I'm not in London. So, Brian, I never met James. I tried to call the show a few times to give my opinion, but it's really difficult to get on the show because on the occasions I did actually get through, what happened was they said, okay, we'll call you back, and they didn't call me back. So I tried to call again, and then the line was full. So I did try to speak to him a few times. So no, I don't know him personally. I like his content, and I don't know if you have heard this before, but I talked about it in the last live stream. But I said that the reason how I discovered James O'Brien was I was tired of Jacob Rees-Mogg and Nigel Farage talking all the time about Brexit. And I was like, is there no one in the UK who's anti-Brexit? And I started looking online and looking on YouTube, and all I found were Brexiteer channels. And then I found this one guy, James O'Brien, talking about it. And I was like, don't forget that. It's terrible. Glasgow Kiss is terrible. I found James O'Brien. I was like, wow, there's this guy who actually disagrees with Brexit. And I started listening to more and more of his videos just to make sure that it wasn't a once-off. And I said, wow, okay. And so I said, I need to respond to this. So I started taking the videos and then responding to them, making responses. Some of the videos I responded during them, and a lot of people said, no, I don't, we want to listen to James. We don't want to listen to you. So I decided, okay, it's better maybe to add a comment at the end. Calendar. It's not naked, okay? I'm sorry, Glasgow Kiss. If I do a naked calendar, I'll log in the next day and I'll have 0 subscribers, okay? If you do not know how making fuel for cars uses 8 megawatts of power, and that a low number that true number is 10, and making fuel is normally in the top 3 of companies that use the most power. Yeah, and also this problem of basalt, using basalt to make cobalt. Sorry, cobalt is extremely toxic for the environment, and it's used to make petrol or diesel. It's a good job. I don't know how to donate, or else I might find myself paying more to see a grown Irishman naked. James is topper, but he's sometimes too quick cutting off people. I think at the beginning of Brexit, he was more open, more engaging with the people, and now I think because he's heard the same arguments over and over again, he's like, okay, whatever, and he cuts them off. I think I miss some of the back and forth he used to do with a lot of the callers, but just a bit of crack, hopefully not his. I think, I missed that back and forth he used to have a lot with callers. Some people are saying that the callers are fake. I don't think so, but I miss those calls actually. The car's okay, but folks who need petrol shouldn't be punished. But I think a hybrid is a good alternative, a good halfway measure. I know Okay, same way. Best so far. Calendars with the chat is moving so quickly. It was okay. Message retracted. Okay. What do you think of George Galloway? No, don't get me started on George Galloway. Let me just put it like this: he is the the Alex Jones of Scotland, and I know the Scottish don't like that reference. They didn't say it had to be you naked. Good idea. It doesn't have to be me. It has to be a naked calendar, but not me. That's good. Thank you, Cotton Cat. My friend used her leaf to power her house when she had... Wow, I heard about that. I assume you need a special inverter probably to do that. Only learnt this over the last few days, but trolls change their handles regularly and joke about it between themselves. I noticed many here seem to use their real names. People are becoming more brazen. I should do his nudie shoot outside Vatican City. A few nuns in the background to add a king factor. It'd be a sellout. James is fair. Okay, I'm really sorry, guys. I'd love to... Here it's 2:10, and I'd love to stay on until 3 o'clock, but unfortunately I can't. So I'm going to have to end the stream. It was really good talking to you guys. Thanks for all of your comments. Thanks for the super chats. You're super kind, super cool, all of you. And an animal calendar is a naked calendar. So I'll look into the comments and the calendar. I promise I'll consider it. So it was a great live stream tonight. We had lots of fun, and I'm hoping to do another one next Friday. So not tomorrow, but the following Friday. And we can maybe have some more news on Brexit, have some more news on Boris Johnson, and that's all. So have a good night. Thanks for coming on the stream, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks. Good night, guys.